お前はどこまで見えている。俺の死に様か。
It was getting light. It was finally getting light. It was probably the longest and most exhausting night of my life. Even last night, in which they defeated Kagyu, did not seem so long to Naruto. Looking at what was left of his right hand, Uzumaki felt a strange sensation. It was as if he had fallen into an absurd genjutsu. He raised his blue eyes to Sasuke, who was walking in front, and exhaled softly. Now they are also connected by disability. The fresh morning breeze blew her dark hair. It's like a whole sea is raging furiously on my head. The strands bucked and fell in indomitable waves. The glare from the sun's rays resembled white foam, which was formed from water hitting the sand. Stop looking at the back of my head. You see everything, Naruto replied, confused. He wanted to put his hands behind his head in his usual manner, but it didn't work out. Still, it's too uncomfortable without a limb. We need to ask Granny Tsunade to fix it. Sasuke, will you donate your other hand to me? No. Sakura was walking next to Naruto. She was smiling at the fact that everything was finally over. Kakashi went to the village to restore order there. Well, and they are returning to the battlefield from the Valley of Completion. It is necessary to help those who did not come to consciousness, to tell about what happened. Sasuke walked apart from them, slouching a little. It seems that they had a heart-to-heart talk, came to an understanding, but no, he still keeps his distance. Naruto pursed his lips and accelerated, catching up with Uchiha. What do you want? They asked him coldly. Uzumaki was slightly confused. Somehow, these icy notes in the voice did not correspond at all to how sincerely they had spoken before, lying on the fragments of statues. He thought that now Sasuke would easily smile at him, as a person with whom he had just reconciled. Is something wrong? That's right. Frowning, Naruto clenched his single fist. Sasuke, tell me. Am I going to be thrown into a dungeon, have my eyes gouged out, beheaded? Uchiha enumerated in an even voice. He turned away towards the forest, avoiding looking at Naruto. What? What should I punish you for? You're still the same jerk. Footsteps sounded behind him. Sakura caught up with them, slightly out of breath. Isn't it time for you to change bandages? And who is our medic? Sakura-chan, I don't remember how much time has passed. What is it? Sasuke asked, looking keenly ahead at the road. Naruto squinted. Far away, in the middle of the road, in the dust and dry ground, there was a thing that looked like a pocket watch that merchants and feudal lords like to carry with them. So we'll find out now what time it is. The blonde man smiled cheerfully. Sasuke, follow me. Grabbing his hand, Naruto started forward. He would have dragged Sakura along with him, but there is no free brush. Terrible discomfort. Don't touch me. For some reason, Uchiha got angry, pulling his hand out of his grip. And what? Are you only satisfied with blows, sissy? Yes, you slow down. Sakura jumped up to them. I don't have such moving techniques. Come on. Naruto squatted down and picked up the watch from the ground. He held it up to his eyes. Vintage. Patterned. They don't do that now. But the arrow did not move. They don't work. Okay, give me your stump, Uzumaki. I'll change the bandages, and then I'll fly up. Sakura said to him behind his back. Without looking, the blonde man reached out in her direction with the rest of his hand. Sasuke was looking at the watch with interest, leaning over it. His strands tickled Naruto's forehead. I think there's something wrong with them. A show off. You probably see through them with Rinnegan. Yeah. And I have a shitty feeling. Amazing. You still feel something. Without second thoughts, the blonde man felt the wheel with his fingers and whirled it counterclockwise from the heart, and at the same moment, all the reality surrounding them evaporated. The green foliage, the rows of trunks, the dusty road, the blue sky with a lone hawk in the sky, everything suddenly ceased to exist, swallowed up by darkness. Naruto exhaled sharply and opened his eyes. He was lying in his old pajamas, the loud calls of merchants were heard outside the window, the curtains were swaying. Is he at home? Naruto was lying in bed, looking around warily. The ceiling, the shabby walls with posters, the huge chest of drawers on the right, everything was as usual. Throwing back the blanket, Naruto squinted even more suspiciously. His legs somehow managed to squeeze into his children's pajama pants, which he threw away 5 years ago. Strange, his disheveled hair was crowned with a black cap with eyes. But the last time he didn't climb on it anymore, and didn't pain destroy Konoha completely. Sitting down, stretching as usual and looking around, Naruto noticed another disturbing detail. There was no frame on the dresser with a photo of team number 7. Uzumaki swallowed. I had a premonition of something bad when Sasuke left the village. Naruto often took the photo in his hands and looked at it carefully. At that moment, their faces were furrowed, ostentatiously contorted. Even Sakura could not smooth out the tension that literally oozed from the photo. With a smile, Naruto smiled, warming his soul from the realization that they are together again, one team again, after so many hard years. Sasuke finally returned to them. Naruto, they called him insinuatingly from somewhere inside. My stomach burned a little. Closing his eyes and concentrating, Naruto found himself in the inner dimension, in a huge room with swamp green lighting, in muddy ankle-deep water. The fox towered over him, moving its 9 tails like tentacles. Kurama! Naruto exclaimed, incredibly delighted. Otherwise, he was completely confused, thinking that he would stay in this stupid genjutsu. Kurama, dispel this stupid genjutsu, there's no genjutsu here. What's going on anyway? Why the hell do you look like a brat who's good for nothing without me? Hey, Uzumaki pouted resentfully, crossing his arms over his chest. Well, yes, genjutsu is my weak spot, but otherwise, that's not what I'm talking about. Look at yourself. The fox lightly touched the water surface with his tail. Went straight circles. Naruto squatted down and lowered his head down. I looked closely. What a childish face, plump cheeks, not so pronounced chin. However, his hair was sticking out in all directions in the same way, and his eyes were also Naruto's, big and always surprised at something. Am I a child? The blonde did not understand, absently scratching the back of his head. And then another important detail came to him. I have 2 hands, Databeo. 2. Did you just notice? The fox tilted his head questioningly. Yeah. If it's not genjutsu, then what? While you were fooling around, I came to the conclusion that it was the clock. They transferred our consciousness to the past. How's that? And I also feel the disgusting chakra of this bastard Sasuke, so that he forever, hey. Sasuke is good, imprisoned my other half, tried to kill us, you actually sent my parents to the next world, but somehow I'm not complaining. Sasuke is good, his problem is, Naruto bit his lip, carefully choosing the exact words in his mind, that he doesn't think so. What's the plan? What do you mean, what is our plan? I don't even understand what's going on yet. What do you mean, transported to the past? Are you really stupid, or what? The fox asked. Do you know what the past is? Well, that's what it was before, Uzumaki mumbled uncertainly, yes. Your spiritual consciousness, with all the energy of the chakra has moved into the past. Because of the watch? Because of the watch, Naruto smiled nervously. Don't tell Kurama now that I didn't understand anything at all, except that I somehow ended up in the past. And why were they lying on the road? It's a Rikuta watch. With their help, his spiritual part travels through time and appears here and there. And what were they doing on the road? The ways of the master are inscrutable. The fox declared with an important look, pointing his muzzle at an imaginary ceiling. And then he added, lowering his voice a little, to be honest, I have long suspected that his senile senility torments. And now? And now I'm sure of it, so, kurama, today is the 15th day, the day of distribution by teams. Now I understand why there is no photo on the dresser. It just hasn't been done yet, databao. Naruto chattered, rummaging through the shelves of the refrigerator. Oh, that sour milk. No, he's not a fool anymore, he won't drink it. Uzumaki has not yet forgotten his sorrowful puffing on the toilet on that ill-fated day. What's in the past, what's now, an empty refrigerator. This phenomenon is for all time, he will be 20, 30, 40 years old. A hanged mouse, a frozen spider web in the upper corner, stupid spices, and sour milk, that's all the contents of the box with winter. And Sasuke probably has a good breakfast there, Naruto thought enviously. I wonder how he is? Probably, he's pushing, trying to dispel this genjutsu and is getting more and more freaked out, not understanding what could be stronger than his Rinnegan. Develop. Develop. Sasuke, exhausted and annoyed, stood in the middle of the room and folded the seals. There's no way he can't get out of genjutsu. For the ecchi, it's generally a family shame to fall for such techniques. And also with Rinnegan. Just brilliant. It is not enough to kill him for such humiliating impotence. Probably, the parents in heaven there were completely burned out of shame. Develop. Zero effect. And how much chakra he managed to throw out of himself, probably, ninja censors are running around the village in confusion now, and Umbu is cordoning off his house. Not good. You need to hide the chakra. Sasuke walked around the old room with a nasty feeling of déjà vu, feeling the walls, the bed, shuffling his bare feet on the floor. Everything feels very natural and clear. It turns out that it can't be a dream either. Then what's the matter, Sasuke? A perky boyish voice sounded from somewhere to the side. Uchiha, with obvious irritation, turned his head towards the window, on which the annoying user Itankaki was carelessly swinging his legs. He doesn't remember Naruto treating him well at that time. It was only after their stupid breakup that something broke in his head and furious shouts were replaced by frightening friendliness. Sasuke was confused. Who is this Naruto? Part of the hallucination or his friend, ahahaha. Uzumaki almost fell out of the window, bursting into sudden hysterical laughter. Damn it. Sasuke, you are so, idiot, Sasuke commented, turning away. And yet, is this a real Naruto? No, you're not an idiot, I meant something else. Uchiha's eyes flashed unkindly. You're just so small, I can't. Ahahaha, shut up. It's alright, if anything. It's me, Naruto assured with such an intonation that it immediately became clear that he was facing a real, inimitable original. I had only noodles at home, and there was nothing to drink. So I came to you to refresh myself, here. In confirmation, he rattled a package of ramen. Since when do we have breakfast together? Sasuke grimaced. The friendliness was really frightening for him. And also awkward and uncomfortable. Because you're definitely my friend now. And you won't run away anywhere else. Uchiha tried to ignore how much his heart skipped a beat from these words. Do you know how to get out of here? Sasuke asked, wincing. If Naruto figured out the situation faster than him, it will hurt his shaky ego. Nope. But Kurama said it was about those super grandfather watches. They took us back in time. Having finished, Uzumaki walked into the depths of the room in a completely friendly way and sprawled on a chair. He tapped his fingers on the wooden surface of the table. Put the kettle on, please. Wait, what's the past? Sasuke tried to clarify. And how did it not occur to him? Yes, and look for juice there. In the refrigerator. In the sense of the past? Is it like with the Izanami technique? You can also, of course, bring a plate. It's nicer to eat from it. Naruto. Sharingan activated by itself. And there is nothing to intrigue. getting into the past is a dangerous thing. But Uzumaki didn't give a damn about someone's anger, the main thing was to eat well. Exactly. Sasuke, you're right. Run after Sakura-chan faster. You can't have breakfast without her, Naruto, and at the same time we will discuss together what to do next, but why did you have to come to me? I don't like strangers coming to me, Sasuke tried to fight back for the last time. That's always the way with this fool, in some inexplicable way, he finds a logical justification for every delusional idea. But we really need to discuss the situation. You're an outsider yourself. Uzumaki replied, seemingly offended. For a guy who's been hanging around for the last 5 years, you talk too much about inviolable property. Fuck you. Sasuke threw him and went outside, closing the door behind him. After that, I heard something like, "Hey, should I serve a guest?" Yeah, you're not much of a host. Having inhaled a full chest of fresh air, Sasuke stopped in the middle of the street in confusion. The sun's rays illuminated holes in the fence, and puddles dried in some places in the pits. A stab in the back from his isolation and indifference to others came unexpectedly and meanly. Uchiha looked around and took an uncertain, weak step to the left. He has no idea where Sakura lives. And it's a shame to go back to Naruto. He'll laugh, the road is painfully familiar. Narrow streets, not yet as full as usual, sleepy faces float out to meet, the cold gets under the blue t-shirt and unpleasantly freezes the body. Sasuke thoughtfully shuffled his feet, walking more out of inertia than out of a desire to come somewhere. If he doesn't find Sakura, it's okay, right? Surely she will guess where her kind close friend Naruto is hanging around. A close friend, yeah. They will decide and plan everything without him. And in general, they will have fun. And he is just a gloomy black-haired cloud. Big, gray, and heavy, without second thoughts, he lightly kicked a pebble under his feet. Quite recently, just a few hours ago, he hit Uzumaki in the face with exactly the same blow. For some reason, it was nice to beat him. Very much so. There are continuous contradictions with this idiot. He carefully kept his left eye closed. Sasuke. Sasuke-kun. He squirmed. Wherever Uchiha is, whatever he does, everywhere he is followed by this identical girlish cry. It was as if he had been cursed from birth, and the unfortunate ears were doomed to eternal torment. Ahead of him, a purple figure waved happily. Ino Yamanaka. At the academy, he generally confused her with Sakura, even despite the different hair color. Maybe she knows where Sakura lives? Hesitantly and cautiously he came closer. The main thing is not to rush to the neck. Ino. Hi. From the dry detached greeting, the girl blossomed, just like her favorite flowers in the store. Hearts lit up in her blue eyes. Oh, why is your eye covered, Naruto, beat up. Ha. Ino burst out laughing, throwing her head back. This little guy is a loser? Well, you gave it away. And immediately calmed down, caught herself, seeing only her one and visible chance. Come on, I have a first aid kit. Let's go. Confidently grabbed his wrist and dragged him to her flower shop. Sasuke tried to resist, but his upbringing did not allow it. Still, at the age of 12, he was not particularly rude to girls, as he did later. You need to match the image. Sit down. She pointed to the chair behind the cash register. Sasuke sat down with his arms crossed over his chest. It was terribly uncomfortable and awkward. Ino went into the back room, and he was left all alone. And she is much more persistent than Sakura, flashed through my head. Although Naruto threatened to break my legs in general if I left Konoha. He himself did not understand why in such a situation he remembered his sworn friend Klutz. Should I run away? A light draft seductively opened and slammed the door. But then I won't know where Sakura lives. The bell at the entrance was ringing melodiously. Maybe it's not that important? Well, to hell with her, this Sakura. She'll figure it out herself. And to hell with Ino, too. To hell with everyone. Before he could make up his mind to do anything, the utility room swung open, and a happy and contented Ino emerged from it. How such a great many jars, creams, ointments, cotton wool, and bandages fit in her hands remained a mystery. Having dumped all this stuff right on the cash desk, the girl began feverishly sorting through the bubbles, looking for the right ones. And yet, how did you do that? What is it? She asked casually, completely occupied with the search. Sasuke noticed that her hands were shaking. Without waiting for an answer, Ino jumped up to him and bent down. Open your eye. Damn, somehow I overlooked such an outcome, although on the other hand, I don't think she knows what a Rinnegan is. Timidly opened his left eye. The girl's face turned pale with horror and stretched out. Well, the bruise AK. Ino whispered softly. I can only drip, and then you go to the hospital. Necessarily. Look at me, if you don't come, I'll find out about it. Am I a child to you? Uchiha couldn't resist. Let it be just the past, her words and she herself mean nothing to him, but he still couldn't resist other people's concern scared him. As well as friendliness. Yes, Naruto? Ino pursed her lips and turned away. Her hands were still shaking. Yes. I'm sorry, please. You're right, I was kind of nervous, after all, it's you, Sasuke, you yourself. I probably overreact. He wouldn't have been able to stand the tears. Do you know where Sakura lives, Sakura? Her eyes widened in shock, and her lips tightened into a thin line in a hunted manner. Around the corner, then I'm off. And the eye? I can handle it. While Ino was clearly at a loss and did nothing, Sasuke quickly jumped up from his chair and headed for the exit without turning around. At least I didn't break any firewood, he said to himself contentedly. Ino clenched her fists behind her back with hatred. Sakura will still get from her for daring to separate her from Sasuke. Yes, where do they disappear there, Databao? Uzumaki howled in anger and hit his head on the table. The wooden legs parted in different directions. As if the table fancied itself a dancer and decided to sit on the splits. The plate broke into thousands of pieces with a nasty clang, the broth splashed out, flooding the floor, part of the wall and Naruto himself. Oh, shit. I forgot I was so strong. Oh my god, Uzumaki trembled in fright, saying goodbye to life in tears. Sasuke will kill me. Kill and bury. No, 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 we need to fix everything urgently before they come back. Ding. The doorbell rings. In desperation and frustration, Naruto took the spoon and bent it in half. Well, why when I need you to come back, you pull to the last, eh? He shouted to the whole apartment. He just won't let anyone in here until he cleans up. And the window should be slammed shut. And when it's not necessary, it's right there. I won't let you. Who is you? An equally furious voice rang out from behind the door. Stop fooling around, open up, no. Naruto hastily wiped the floor with a cloth from the noodle broth. Wait, the end of the sentence was drowned in a deafening roar. It seemed as if an earthquake had suddenly struck Konoha. Naruto, throwing a rag, ran out into the corridor with fright and froze, eyes wide. Only fragments of the door remained, filling up the entire narrow corridor. Smoke curled above them. Sakura, snorting, unclenched her fist and showed up inside, stepping over the remains of a once solid and good door. Absolutely awesome. Both of you. At first, you weren't at home, now you don't open here. Do you know how nervous I was? She exclaimed, painfully poking Naruto's chest and pushing him against the wall. I look like a teenager, my hair is long, my mother is too young. And you were also lost somewhere. Freaks, and Sasuke, as it were, went to you, Naruto giggled stupidly. And I thought that you were going together, and that you wouldn't get angry in his presence, and break down his door, oh. Sakura seems to have just realized that she broke down the Uchiha's door. And when she went into the kitchen and saw a broken table, a broken plate, Haruno looked at Uzumaki in fright. He will kill us, Naruto briefly expressed her thoughts. And if you remember how Sasuke was indignant that I came here, then he will do it, with extreme cruelty, so, girls. In an hour, we will all be at the distribution at the academy. Sakura Haruno will also be there. She is our target. Ino, as an experienced general who had a remarkable authority, walked along an even row of meek, but equally furious girls, and looked into each face, checking for the presence of malice. None of you want Sasuke to get to her, right? Right? Yes. Do you agree that we should teach her a lesson? Yes. Are you ready to give your all for this sacred act? Yes. Then you and I understand each other. Now I'll let you in on the details of my plan. Sasuke was propping himself up against the wall, waiting for an answer. After all, he found where his partner lives. Sakura? Oh, she left about half an hour ago, the man with the strange hairstyle answered him. It's like cones sticking out of your head. A blonde, neat woman peeked out of the kitchen and smiled slyly. And you, by any chance, are not the same Sasuke-kun? What is it? She asked. The one? Uchiha did not understand. After a couple of seconds, it dawned on him. So, this kunoichi also told her parents about her illness, called Sasuke-kunsfo. No, Sakura is a good friend and a person, but love is such senseless nonsense. Sasuke doesn't approve of feelings at all, especially such stupid and stormy ones. So what's going on with our daughter, young man? At that moment, Uchiha wanted to sink through the ground. Or just to stuff the muzzle of this strange man, who, although he asked in a harsh tone, but grinned at all 32. That's why Sakura didn't look like herself all morning, the woman finished off, looking out of the kitchen again. In her hand she held a frying pan, on which the fish was appetizing. Don't be nervous, don't be nervous. But if you offend our princess, it won't seem enough. Sasuke froze. And when he woke up, he couldn't think of anything better than to back away, grope for the door handle, hide behind it and walk away from a difficult situation with morning steps. What nonsense. That's what I should have answered? If I hadn't left so ridiculously, I would have killed them, honestly. Sakura would hardly approve of this. No, let Naruto do such stuff. Why did I listen to him at all and get somewhere? Yeah. Children. The man drawled. You scared him off. Idiot, what did I say? Do you think you're lost? Sakura asked anxiously. He and Naruto walked along the wide main street. Shops opened, the village gradually came to life and filled with bright colors. Of course. He hasn't been here for so many years. Probably sitting somewhere in the sewers, all by himself, frying local frogs and snakes. Frying, not in that sense. Sakura-chan, yes, I just asked again. Uzumaki's ears turned red. Never mind, never mind. But it should not be overlooked. You never know what he can do. You don't trust him yet? Sakura asked. Her gaze was extremely tenacious and penetrating. It was especially surprisingly combined with the unusual childishness of her face. When he's around, I'm sure of him, Naruto began. In general, he tends to notice and pull the best out of everyone, but, for some reason, he was always unnerved by the thought that when he leaves the people he corrected, they return to the old delusion. As if his words are temporary. A nasty thought. And now, I don't know. You never know what he might come up with. Do you know how unexpected everything always happens to him? Maybe we don't see any important prerequisites, and it will change dramatically again, because I again did not catch up with something. Heck. We need to find him. You still don't trust me. I'm just afraid for him. Just a day ago, he tried to kill us all. What if he comes up with something again, amazing, sighed Sakura, shuffling her soul on the dusty road. She stared thoughtfully somewhere at her feet, looking at the blue sandals. Naruto stopped after her. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed the slightly puzzled, but still hostile glances of passers-by. Probably, they do not understand why he is not hooliganizing with cans of paints, but quietly strolling down the street, and still, they hate him. But that's just for now. What is surprising, we need to get out of Genjutsu in a good way, and we only discuss Sasuke. Idiots, aren't they? She smiled questioningly. Naruto grinned, scratching the back of his head. Yes, eh? Tell me, do you still like him? Why do you ask? I don't know myself, Naruto answered honestly. And then he surprised himself. After all, the answer is obvious. In theory, he likes Sakura and he should be jealous, but it turns out that he hasn't felt anything about her for a year now. This discovery almost made the unfortunate fellow stumble over his own foot. And when I woke up and went to help you with Kakashi-sensei, I was haunted by a strange feeling that Sasuke had knocked something out of me with that blow, you know. Having safely missed the beginning of the answer, Naruto safely listened to the end. Probably. By the way, I'm taller than you. Sakura said sharply, proudly straightening up. Uzumaki made an offended face. But your breasts are the same, rejoice. Oh, you. An indignant sigh was followed by a precise blow to the top of the head. Naruto howled, holding his head. My ears were ringing. At least I didn't break my skull, and thanks for that. Well, what are you really? The guy was indignant. I'm not hitting you, although my blows are wow. By the way, the power is in place, oddly enough, Sakura began thoughtfully. A swarm of girly voices could be heard ahead, but she did not notice them, lost in her thoughts for a minute. Naruto raised his head with interest and broke into a bright, joyful smile, looking in front of him. In theory, we can take advantage of this and correct the events of the past until we return to the future. Hey, Ino, hi. Where are Shikamaru and Choji? Friendly Naruto waved his hands. What's that? The girl squinted contemptuously. I'm not messing with these losers. Sakura finally came out of her thoughts and looked at her past rival in surprise. But you're on the same team. Ino's face was slightly puzzled. Haruno stepped on Naruto's foot with force. He held, and, like a rag doll, was immediately pulled by a strong hand. Naruto. First of all, they haven't been distributed yet, you idiot. Secondly, there is definitely something wrong here. On this day, Ino and I just reached the academy without any adventures, and now she is blocking our way with her minions. Why would she? Well, you didn't meet, and did it affect her, but so much? Sakura Uzumaki whispered skeptically in her ear. Sakura, Ino stretched out unkindly, as if trying the name to taste. So, this loser is not enough for you, so you also climbed to Sasuke-kun? Hey, who are you calling a loser? Naruto was indignant, shaking his fist. Wait, don't get excited. His girlfriend said. Have you seen Sasuke? Well, yes, I saw, Ino drawled significantly, sighing languidly. And then she bit her lip in annoyance. Pride would not allow her to admit that Sasuke had left her so quickly. Yes, and in search of Sakura. I came to tell you. The companions looked at her in bewilderment. To tell all of you. A nervous smile ran across her plump lips. Sasuke and I are now a couple. Deathly silence. Well, almost a coffin. Somewhere in the sky, a raven was turning circles with a mocking croak. Fool. Fool. And the leaves of the trees rustled discreetly from the gust of wind. Sakura's eyelid twitched nervously, and Naruto generally stood for a second as if out, then got angry for a second, then, for some reason was scared, but an adequate reaction still came in time. Out of breath, flushed from the street frost, trampling on the threshold, ha 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 ha. What nonsense are you talking? He naturally fell to the ground, clutching his stomach and bursting into unrestrained laughter. Sasuke and Takeo, what nonsense, Sakura managed. Ino's companions were also slightly perplexed. And resentment that they were so cleverly framed, and even humiliated. So they clenched their fingers into a fist, blew dust motes off their knuckles, and turned to their former commander. Ino backed away, but ran into a tree trunk. Panic seized her for a moment, but she gathered her courage and deftly jumped up on a branch, her eyes flashing dangerously. The girls stayed downstairs. Well, what are you going to do to me? You are much weaker than me. And even a horde of you have no chance to correct the events of the past, Sakura said thoughtfully. It will probably be easier if Sakura, well, that is, I am only a version of the past. If Sakura does not bother with such senseless rivalry, it undermines her self-confidence. We need to solve this once and for all. Ino. I'll fight you. Naruto looked at her with disbelief and incomprehension. What the fuck is Databeo for? So it was red in his round, clear-eyed. Will you fight? With me? Are you challenging me, lobbyhead? She drawled, grinning. Sakura twirled the kunai on her finger and got into a fighting stance, slightly bent her knees and lifted her head, holding the kunai in front of her eyes. The blonde didn't budge. The rest of the girls stood aside, forming something like a mini arena for a duel. Naruto was scratching a turnip behind Sakura's back in confusion. She won't ruin everything here with one blow, will she? Or will it collapse? And the clouds were still peacefully and indifferently marching across the sky, like the grandees of feudal lords. Start, and then a short but intense battle ensued. Sakura aimed a few kunai, Ino deftly dodged 4, beat off the 5th with her own and swiftly jumped down right on Sakura, preparing to wound her opponent with a kunai. The clang of metal, weapons crossed. Ino spun around sharply and tripped. But Sakura managed to jump up and, twisting around, put her fist into Ino like that. A strong blow fell on the shoulder blade. The girl flew forward a couple of meters and collapsed, raising a column of dust. For a second, Sakura even thought she had lost sight of her. Yamanaka coughed, but after a second she steadfastly got to her feet and rushed forward with renewed strength. The second blow landed in the stomach, however, clap. Sakura froze in surprise. A shadow clone, then. Not bad at all. Sakura gives in so as not to arouse unnecessary suspicion, Uzumaki guessed. But he wants to win. I give up. I'm giving up for now. Ino's answer came as a complete surprise to Haruno. The blonde was standing in the same place, in the shade of the crown of a large tree, on a mighty branch. She was breathing heavily and rubbing her back. I still need to treat Sasuke. And here I can get hurt myself. Treat? Uzumaki asked worriedly, peeking out from behind Sakura. Ino rolled her eyes. Yes, treat. He got into a fight with someone and there's something wrong with his eye. Naruto and Sakura looked at each other excitedly. A piercing bright yellow flash, and a second later they were no longer in place. What the? Was it moving? Ino said dumbfounded, clinging tightly to a tree branch. So fast. One of the girls echoed her. Sasuke was looking out of the window with a bored expression, his chin resting melancholically on his palms. Everything is exactly like a few years ago. However, apart from Hinata, there were no girls in the audience. It was a little annoying. No, after all, he has no future in Konoha. Soon Naruto and Sakura will find a way out into the right world where he is a criminal. Even if he is forgiven, he will not be able to stay in Konoha. There's too much he doesn't like. Damn, he lazily shifted his gaze to the clock. And why did I come here, to the distribution alone? Surely they will guess that this is the default meeting point. It is impossible to distort the events of the past, and suddenly a bright light hurt my eyes. It was as if a bonfire had flared up for a moment. Sasuke blinked and now his teammates were standing in front of him. Naruto leaned his palms on the table on both sides of Uchiha and examined him with some kind of stupid excited look. Are you okay, Sasuke? Other students stared at them curiously. Apparently, they took it for some kind of another Naruto prank and were already mentally preparing for a funny and unexpected turn. Sakura walked away and sat down at the desk next to Uchiha. Sasuke was full of bewilderment, though not a single muscle twitched on his face. And the face of his rival friend was unacceptably close, dangerously close to. And for a minute, damn, you can't leave it unattended, you're not my babysitter. What's wrong with the eye? I'm alright, move away. He was, oh, how uncomfortable with warm breath and big blue eyes that seemed to read him like an open book. Uzumaki narrowed his eyes skeptically, suddenly something restless flashed across his face. He pursed his lips and glanced nervously back. The same kid who once pushed him in the back towards the ill-fated kiss was not there. Perhaps this happened because, due to the lack of girls, the auditorium was empty and the boy just sat down on the empty upper rows. Sasuke blinked nervously. The pale face clearly showed exactly the same anxiety that had overcome Naruto a minute earlier. Yeah, I'm definitely not the only one who suffered nightmares from this, kiss. This thought amused Uzumaki. After all, it was on that day that Sasuke for a moment lost his stupid pathos dispassion and no less ridiculously writhed and spat. Come on, take off your bangs. Let me see. Sasuke tried to push him away, but his hand was unexpectedly roughly intercepted. The brunette narrowed his eyes in hostility. How passionately he wanted to activate Mangekyo now and burn Naruto. Yes, he probably will never use force against him again, but he will sometimes dream about it with pleasure. And why did this Uzumaki keep bother me at all? I told you that everything is fine. There were a lot of rude things on the tongue. Fools, Sakura chuckled, getting up from her seat. Passing between the rows just past Naruto, she cast a mysterious and slightly good-natured glance in their direction. A mischievous smile slid across his lips. We're actually a wave, I can take care of myself. Don't interrupt. Naruto flared up, already ready to give Sasuke a sobering slap, but then some unknown and remarkable force painfully and unpleasantly kicked him in the ass. He lost precious ground under his feet and absurdly flew forward, across the desk. The only thing that flashed through my mind was, damn, Sakura-chan. For what, Databeo? Either the flight path was calculated with amazing accuracy, or evil fate intervened in their lives again. Or maybe both are to blame, but anyway, history tends to repeat itself. It was repeated now. Naruto would have howled if his lips weren't busy with someone else's. Still clutching Sasuke's hand, he was surprised to feel it tremble, as if the Uchiha was shaking violently. Well, yes, we kissed. So what? For the third time it seems, it's time to get used to the fact that fate likes to joke about them like that. Carefully pulling away and opening his eyes slightly, Naruto couldn't resist some stupid awkward laugh. Blushing either from anger or from shame, Uchiha is a truly delicious sight, and therefore pleasant. Forcefully sucking in a full chest of air, it looked like he was holding his breath. Sasuke, grimacing, defiantly wiped his mouth with an armband. Sakura-chan, Naruto stretched out murderously affectionately, getting up and turning to her. I wanted to defuse the situation, she smiled, slightly tilting her head. Looking over Naruto's shoulder, she suddenly visibly tensed. Firstly, Uchiha suddenly found emotions on his face. He looked at Sakura quite expressively and angrily. He was just blown away with such an action. He was choking with indignation and rage, caused by Haruno's insolence. Another second and he'd get up and punch her, really punch her. Sakura was not afraid that Sasuke looked like her potential killer. Susanu's dark purple aura began to slowly manifest around him, gradually becoming thicker and thicker. My God, but our classmates are here. And they will see everything and start asking questions. Stop it, Naruto whispered softly to his friend through his teeth, nervously looking around. We shouldn't risk arousing suspicion, Sasuke. It seems that these words sobered Uchiha. The aura dissipated, he resumed his impressively thoughtful pose, crossing his palms under his chin and staring at a point known only to him. But he kept frowning anyway. Sakura and Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. They exchanged glances. They were both perplexed. Yeah, and what the hell was that? They read in each other's eyes. Sakura returned to her seat, sitting a little further away from the evil Sasuke. Otherwise, he'll break his arm under the table while no one is watching. Naruto, keeping a thoughtful silence, squeezed in between them, but in the past they sat a little differently. And what the hell was that? Kiba asked loudly from the upper seats of the audience. Akamaru yapped at the whole room. If this is some kind of joke, then I might as well be a cat person. Everyone around laughed. Indeed, Naruto's behavior seemed to everyone at least strange. And not just him. It seems the three of them were a little out of it. Funny, said Shikamaru phlegmatically. I had a stupid idea that they were replaced by other people. They talked about something incomprehensible, as if they knew each other well, and all that. Kiba twirled his finger at his temple. Sometimes Shikamaru, of course, will blurt out something stupid in his sleep. There is such a sin behind him. It's a pity that your observation balloon doesn't transmit sounds, Kakashi sighed, scratching his head. The Hunins grouped themselves in a semicircle around the Hokage and his ball, closely following the development of events. And why? Kurenai shrugged her shoulders. The usual skirmish. We started observing too late. I was strained by that aura around Uchiha Sasuke. You've seen her, haven't you, aura? Sarutobi asked doubtfully. Literally everyone looked at Kakashi skeptically. He even felt like an idiot who had blurted out some mind-blowing nonsense. Well, no, so no. He smiled peacefully through his mask, and began to think about this incident in his mind. And yet I am categorically against putting them on the same team. He did not like the moment he saw. He smelled of something incomprehensible, and therefore frightening. What the fuck, damn it. Naruto was kicking stones, being just in a rage. How could it have happened that we were assigned to different teams? That's what you're going to do with Hinata and Kiba, Sasuke? I don't understand anything either, Sakura said thoughtfully. Is the world really so fragile, and the slightest events can turn everything upside down? Anyway, we need to fix it. Kurama, damn, are you even sure that we are in the past? Yes, I'm sure, idiot. They were heading somewhere far away from the village, disguised as ordinary residents. You never know what can happen if they are seen. Suddenly some goofball will come to mind to say something to another goofball, word for word, and they will appoint another sensei at all. When we return to the future, what do you think will change at all from such a distribution of teams? Naruto asked the others. Firstly, I will not wake up Sharingan, Sasuke replied. Actually, this can be the end. You won't be able to imperceptibly copy the answers on the exam to Chunin, Sakura picked up, thinking. And maybe you won't get into that forest at all, and you won't meet Orochimaru. Don't remind me about him, Naruto grimaced. And Sakura and I can even die in the land of waves. Kakashi, so exactly. Do you remember how Zabuza caught him in a water trap, and Shino? Sakura objected. Maybe he could have done something. Yes, and I probably would have been such a weakling, because I was motivated by rivalry. Memories of their shared campaigns and adventures warmed the soul. They spent another 10 minutes fervently discussing what would change such a distribution of teams. They came to the conclusion that everything would be much worse than it should be, and that they could generally return to the world of eternal Tsukuyomi, where Kaguya is still alive. Naruto almost squealed with joy, feeling how they gradually come together and become a team again. Even Sasuke seemed to relax and didn't look so tense. You know, and you saved my life back then, Uzumaki drawled. They were just approaching the main gate. Yes. My terrible mistake. Don't lie. I didn't say what I thought at the time. You actually pissed me off terribly, but, Naruto hesitated. Sasuke stared at the road. Perhaps that's why the feelings in me flared up even more brightly. Naruto, do you even understand how it sounds? Sakura smiled. Well, you've ruined everything, he exclaimed, waving his fists. Here Sasuke understands that I meant it sincerely, and that at that moment he was exactly the real Sasuke who was before the events with the clan. Uchiha frowned. Yes, something Naruto was stupid, reminding about his family, brother. Then we will go personally to the Hokage and ask us to do it as a team. Sakura translated the topic, interrupting an awkward long pause. Guys, we need the Hokage scrolls. Perhaps there is information about the Rikudo watched. The first sensible thought for today, commented Sasuke. And again he walked a little ahead, as if separating himself from them. Honestly, Naruto really wanted to jump up to him again and put him to sleep in his annoying manner with endless chatter, but something stopped him. He just walked behind and was silent. No. Completely excluded. You'll get along fine with your teams, Hiruzen Sarutobi answered them, sitting in his stupid hat. But it's worth telling you, the lists will be redone immediately. Instead of chatting, you'd better go to a meeting with your sensei. Kakashi will be late anyway, we know him, Naruto blurted out without thinking. Hokage looked at him with barely concealed bewilderment. How can they know him? Please, honestly, it's very important. Sakura pleaded. Sasuke ironically watched what was happening. This angered Naruto. And why are you silent? Say a word, what can I say? I have fun watching your attempts. You see. Of course, I wanted to take a risk by putting you on the same team, but most likely no mentor will be able to cope with you three. Well, you certainly can't cope with anything, Sasuke blurted out, propping himself up against the wall. Naruto and Sakura's jaw dropped. Actually, just like Sarutobi. What the hell, Sasuke? Naruto didn't understand. What do you mean by that? Hokage asked cautiously. Yes, so, allowed to cut out the whole clan, allowed others to mock and reject him, pointed a finger in the direction of Uzumaki, who was slightly embarrassed. Hiruzen turned pale and his face changed. In vain, of course, you were chosen in Hokage. Sasuke exhaled, apparently having said all that was necessary. Idiot. Sakura moaned, pressing her palm to her mouth. He and Naruto were scared shitless that Sasuke's careless words might have ruined their future. And how do we even get out of it now? It's very simple, he shrugged. Coming closer to the Hokage's table, he activated the Eternal Mangekyo and plunged him into Genjutsu. Forget this conversation and the fact that we were here. So, how to make a requirement to change the composition of the teams? You need to write a statement with the seal of the Hokage. Pfft, nothing complicated. Sasuke took an empty form from the drawer. Under the silent condemnation of his teammates, he copied the handwriting of the third with a Sharingan, scribbled something, and then unfolded the sheet to Sarutobi. Good enough? Quite, he replied, still with the same empty glass gazed. Naruto couldn't find the words. In my opinion, this is too much, Sasuke ignored his words. Having secured everything with a seal, he blew off the dust motes from the document and put it on a rather impressive stack of exactly the same statements. As soon as the genjutsu dissipated, the third Hokage lost consciousness and fell backwards in his chair with a crash. This is too much, Sakura exclaimed. You can't mock people like that. You're no good with your please anyway, Uchiha shrugged. After his performance, he visibly cheered up. Why, not bad. Effectively and without sacrifice, Naruto suddenly appreciated. Naruto. Sakura looked at him as a traitor. Sasuke, you still need to warn me. I was scared when you suddenly started saying all these nasty things, and now we will behave like the owners and at the same time take the scrolls, as we were going to. Naruto climbed into a corner somewhere, grunting and waving away the dust. I think I found it. If we don't find anything we need, we'll have to get into the umbu, Sasuke replied. God, we won't go home at this rate, but we will become international criminals, Sakura sighed, looking longingly at the lying Sarutobi. Welcome to the club, Sasuke responded unexpectedly self-ironically, grinning. You're going to tell us how to behave, aren't you? Naruto asked with a smile, rummaging through the papers. The main thing is to have partners. No matter how strong a shinobi is, he will disappear without companions. Oh, you're talking about there. Naruto frowned at the thought of Taka. Including Naruto pursed his lips. Taka are exactly the people he would never be able to accept. They seem to be part of that completely different world of Sasuke, which is inaccessible to him. The mention of them every time pulls him out of his dreams about the return of Team Number 7, and dips his muzzle into the fact that Sasuke is now a completely different person, not the 12-year-old boy with whom they competed and were friends. Something, of course, remained, but mostly, they are now different people. No matter how much they deny it. It seems that Uchiha now looks exactly the same as a few years ago, cute, angular, but something was still wrong. His gait is different, his expression has changed, he has become even more cavalier, no matter how he denies it. Well, what are you staring at again, huh? What is it? He asked him, looking down at him. Uzumaki muttered resentfully, returning to his beloved scrolls. Unfortunately, there was no information about the Sage of the Six Paths or his watch in the scrolls. Kurama, hey, Kurama! Naruto called him softly. Do you have any suggestions on how we can get back? Asked the first Hokage. He knows for sure, and you're just telling me this now? Naruto was seriously indignant. And you didn't ask, the fox yawned, pleased with his wit. Wait, what other Hokage are we talking about? Do not tear off his corpse, how confusing everything is. Sakura howled, looking at the ceiling. And where will we get the first Hokage? I have one thought, mused Sasuke. You're crazied. Definitely crazied. Offer your own. So far, my option is the only really feasible one. What about your Rinne resurrection? There is no body. Orochimaru has it anyway. We're not going to Orochimaru, damn it. And what will happen here, eh? If we don't go on missions with Kakashi, then some unexpected problems will appear again. Anyway, Sasuke, it's Orochimaru. Naruto explained to him. Shut up and don't flash before your eyes. I've thought it all out. Naruto is right, and what will happen to my parents? They'll start to worry, and you're not going, Sakura. You will have another goal, to keep an eye on Kakashi and the situation in the village. If something gets out of control, signal, we'll come to you. Anyway, the course of events will be disrupted if Kakashi and I don't go on missions. What's your head for, Dobe? Sasuke asked him with a slight smile. And then Naruto realized, he drawled, being in utter delight. Damn, it's just brilliant. Why didn't I understand it right away? Sasuke, I'm going to kiss you now, let's not do this for now, okay? The brunette moved away. Sakura didn't understand anything at all. She looked at them in confusion, her eyes bulging, and pursed her lips, a little angry at her slowness. But she still had to listen to the full version of the plan, so there was nothing terrible about it. And so, after some miserable half an hour, Team Number 7 in full force was sitting in the audience, waiting for their sensei. Shino had to explain everything and send it to another place, although he buzzed for a long time. When Naruto told him this, he was just dying with laughter, and was outraged by Konoha's bureaucratic apparatus. Sakura walked around the audience, hiding a smile. She liked the plan very much too. However, the discrepancy arose only in one moment. Since Sasuke and Naruto cloned themselves using an adult chakra, then, no matter how amazing it was, their adult clones appeared. So I had to use two techniques, cloning and reincarnation. Moreover, only one pair of clones were sitting with Sakura in the audience right now, but just in case there are others at home, spare ones. If anything, I'm in charge here, do you understand me? She turned menacingly to the copies of her friends. Naruto nodded in fright, and Sasuke just snorted. Haruno was satisfied with the answer. They played convincingly. The sun burned the earth mercilessly during the day. Tired of dragging barrels from the old barn to the new one, team number 10 decided to take a break. And at the same time, continue the morning dialogue. How did they come up with such an absurdity, as if spies were sneaking around the village instead of Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke? It all started with an innocent mention of the fact that Shino was unexpectedly transferred to another team for everyone. In the morning there was a slight scandal in the village around the third, who, with foam at the old man's mouth, claimed that he did not remember when he gave the order. But nothing can be done. Team number 7 has already passed the test with bells. The blonde also recalled Naruto's suspicious cry about being in the same group with Shikamaru and Choji. If we consider that it was said an hour before the announcement of the lists of teams, then everything smelled of something very suspicious. And there was also an atypical and rapid movement technique, resembling a bright flash of flame. Shikamaru supported her suspicions, adding other details to the newly constructed theory, the mysterious behavior of all three in the audience, dialogues, from which it was clear that this trio had something in common. And now there's the Shino scandal. Shino was sent to the 8th team so that those who hide under the guise of Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke would be inseparable, Shikamaru said, and Ino nodded in agreement. But what should we do with such information? Go to the Hokage, who is probably a puppet. The fake Naruto knew the results of the distribution in advance, for a reason. It's definitely their handiwork, Choji. Get up. Shikamaru gently kicked the fat man, curled up in a ball, who even in his sleep, unconsciously, even then managed to scoop a handful of chips out of the bag with his hand and send them into his mouth. How did anyone even have the tongue to call Shikamaru a lazy person when a Kimichi lies and sleeps in the shade of a tree, brazenly ignoring the command? Well, what else? Choji asked wearily, rubbing his sleepy eyes. Of course, we shouldn't have gotten involved in all this, Shikamaru drawled. It will take longer than thought. Don't whine, but rather thank me that I know where all the shelters of Orochimaru are located. They were heading to the nearest shelter, hidden in the vast forests of Konoha, jumping on the branches of trees. Naruto occasionally anxiously looked back. Suddenly someone decided to pursue them. Puff! Naruto braked and jumped down. Sasuke stared at him with incomprehension, also descending to the ground. My clone has disappeared. Sakura, Sakura, they both sighed. Naruto continued to say, we made her angry. She hit me, and as always she felt sorry for you. Make at least 50 clones and send them to her. I hope that's enough for a couple of days. Yes, I think I will. Shadow cloning technique. In the middle of the road, as if 50 copies of an adult Naruto had grown out of the ground. And then he looked at the unsuspecting Sasuke with a sly smile. Seduction technique, Sasuke, one of the girls said affectionately, throwing her strands behind her back with a wide graceful movement. This has long ceased to be funny, Uzumaki. If there ever was, of course. Your coldness kills me, Naruto sighed bitterly. But he didn't remove his girls. Let them go to Sakura in this form. I love the commotion in the village. She's going to kill them all. If he catches me, Naruto smiled cunningly, rubbing his palms. And maybe we can also adjust the reverse harem to this show, no? Sasuke overreacted. I don't understand you. Uzumaki shook his head, but he was able to send 50 more cute boys to Konoha. Secretly, from Sasuke. It is unlikely that anything will change from this. This is my usual behavior. The behavior of a jerk. Hey, what are you doing? Offended? Naruto did not understand, coming closer to Sasuke, who turned away from him. He did not like this harsh tone. Look at me, hesitantly pulled at the armband, clinging to it as if it were some kind of saving straw. I never take offense, Dobe, Sasuke could not resist commenting. Turning to face Uzumaki, Naruto stepped closer. continuing to hold Sasuke by the sleeve. He glared at the black, always so distant and alien eyes, and lost the power of speech. My heart skipped a beat and suddenly started pounding, beating like a frenzy, like nuke-mean in a torture chamber. There was something strange in their glancing at each other, unfamiliar before. Naruto believed in the supernatural, but not to such an extent that he believed that one glance, moreover, without Sharingan, could send so many wild impulses through the body, and no one wanted to break away from the contemplation of other people's eyes, to stop this fragile deep contact. But the longer they looked at each other, the more fear awoke in them. In fear of what these unplanned staring can result in, Naruto came up with the idea of a kiss, and this prompted him to retreat first, red as a Sharingan. They forgot, Sasuke said hoarsely, no less confused. Naruto nodded in confusion in response. At a distance of several tens of meters, a barely discernible sound was heard, as if someone had trampled fresh and juicy grass into the ground. Sasuke did not hesitate to throw the kunai there. A frightened girlish cried, "Come out!" Naruto called them. "We do not wish you any harm." Two pairs of hands pushed Shikamaru out of the bushes. Sasuke arched an eyebrow in surprise. Naruto stared at the bush. Ino and Choji also had to get out and stand next to their friend. "And, you are not who you say you are," Ino blurted out, ignoring Shikamaru's protesting look. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances. There's nothing to talk about. The last thing the number 10 team saw that day was the teacher's eyes flashing scarlet and purple. Let's put them back in the bushes. Sasuke said thoughtfully. Naruto turned to him with Shikamaru slung over his shoulder. It's probably even to our advantage that we are not considered who we are. So our actions will have no consequences at all. Then you don't have to impose a henge on yourself every time. Let's have some fun, that's all you're thinking about. Sasuke took a step towards the other two members of Inoshikacho and suddenly swayed, clutching his head, hastily throwing the unconscious carcass of the genius and strategist into the bushes. Naruto jumped up to Sasuke with a worried expression. I grabbed him around the waist, not letting him fall. What is it? Everything okay? It's fine. Sasuke delicately tried to remove Naruto's hands from himself and get out of the embrace, but Jinchuriki held him tightly. Uchiha felt even more sick from such proximity, and, plus, it was hot. Your eye is bleeding. It's not normal. Let go. A few more seconds of fumbling, pinching, pushing, and Sasuke calmed down and calmed down. To Naruto's great surprise. Only he relaxed a little, as a sneaky kick in the gut knocked him to the ground. What was that, Uzumaki? Why are you always doing some nonsense to me? Yes, I don't know. He stood up, rubbing the bruised back of his head. I thought you were going to fall. What's the big deal? Well, I would have fallen. Shut up. I think it was just a return from Genjutsu. Uchiha tactfully translated the topic. It was not enough to focus on such trifles as a showdown when their future is at stake. Do you suffer from this? No. Then why did you suddenly decide that? I have a theory that our children's bodies are not sufficiently trained for such serious techniques. So, we are waiting for a joint training. Naruto's eyes lit up with anticipation, and his hands clenched into fists. No. We're just going to save energy. Don't even argue. The next morning, well, let's go train, asked. Naruto whined, dancing around the eternally imperturbable Uchiha. Well, how to say unperturbed? The purple aura of Susanoo was slowly thickening around him. A couple more minutes of these nasty intonations of Uzumaki, and he does not vouch for himself. I'm tired since yesterday. Sasuke made a last attempt to settle everything peacefully and stumbled upon a wall of sincere misunderstanding in his blue eyes. How is it, tired? Of course Naruto was aware of what it is to get tired. And that's it. You're just lazy. I'm used to everything being easy for you. Does it get easy? Sasuke's eye twitched. He hasn't forgotten his grueling training in Orochimaru's lair yet. It is a pity that the snake has not yet met Sasuke at this time and cannot confirm to Naruto how Uchiha worked on himself. Well, yes. Uzumaki waved his hand carelessly. That's why I'm stronger than you. What did you say? Sasuke's tone became colder than ice and more poisonous than cyanide. Naruto made a grave mistake, walking ahead and not even turning around at the interlocutor. If I turned around, I would have been several thousand kilometers away in some village of sand, as far away as possible. A long time ago. Susanu's hand was slowly creeping up to the relaxed and contented blonde in the warm sun, moving on the index and middle fingers. A crow cawed anxiously from somewhere above, a gust of wind stirred the dust motes in the air, and Naruto was wrapped in a steel embrace. Hey, let me out, okay? The skeletal arm shot up together with Uzumaki and catapulted Naruto somewhere into the distant thicket of trees. It became much more pleasant to go further. For the first time in his life, Sasuke drew attention to the purity of the sky, to the pale moon, which had forgotten something in the sky during the day, to how fresh it smells in the morning. He never had enough time for this. Naruto always distracted him from serene contemplation. What the hell? A visibly embittered Uzumaki jumped out of the bushes, pulling out thorns on the move. So you don't have the strength to train, huh? And you idiot, don't even need to look for strength. She appears by herself. That's how it is. For a couple of seconds, he bored Sasuke with an aggressive look, and then suddenly subsided, as if there was no irritation. Naruto turned away, blushing deeply and retreating a couple of steps, nervously looking somewhere to the side. Sasuke blinked twice with a short time interval. This is the maximum permissible strength of the emotion bewilderment. Maybe it was because yesterday Naruto was too nice to talk to him under a tree after training, which Sasuke was still persuaded to do. It was late in the evening, and as you know, in the evening and at night people are completely different than during the day. Actually, the difference was that in the morning and in the afternoon people are critical, and in the evening and at night they are impressionable. And now Naruto was thinking to himself whether he had opened up too much then. The stars were lighting up in the dark blue sky, the earth was cooling down. Fortunately there was a bonfire around which moths flew like planets around the sun. Naruto babbled incessantly that he didn't even dare to dream that everything would turn out so well. That someday the two of them will be able to sit by the fire and talk. Without Chidori, without Raisengans, without Susanoo, and without hermit regimes. Naruto told him that most likely he would leave the village again, and he, having grown up and wiser, would not think of stopping him. You never know what anyone will think wrong. After all, he is now definitely the future Hokage. Sasuke only grunted in response, not taking his eyes off the fire, thinking, apparently, about fireballs, and then remembering his clan. Naruto didn't guess Uchiha was listening to him. And what people might think wrong, he snidely threw, wearily leaning back on the grass and closing his eyes. The question remained hanging in the air, fluttering over the head of the discouraged Naruto, and occasionally giving him light slaps on the back of the head. The conversation is clearly over. Sasuke did not expect that Naruto knows the answer and will now voice it, and he was damn right. Sasuke was just a monster. Because of him Naruto slept for at most 4 hours. All morning he sat by the extinguished fire, tucked his legs under him, and thought. The grass and bushes were sweating with pure dew, the pinkish sun caressed the treetops, the light slowly fell down to the ground, and he kept thinking, without taking his eyes off the calmly sleeping Uchiha. Indeed, what can people think wrong? That Sasuke is the most important person to him? Isn't that right? Or, what's the matter? Why did he start to be so afraid of it? Maybe there is something else. Naruto silently crept closer, sinking down on the wet grass next to Sasuke. He continued to sleep. Uzumaki expected to see anxiety on his face, echoes of unfortunate events. He wouldn't be surprised if Sasuke had a bad dream. What else to expect? But no, he kept the mask even while sleeping. A calm, marble-like, emotionless face, there are no wrinkles on the forehead or at the corners of the mouth. It's as if his life is going smoothly and without shocks. Which, of course, was not true when Naruto, being in a reverie, put his dry palm on Sasuke's light forehead purely on automatic, removing his hair. He did not even move. Although it would seem, like a good ninja, he should kick up, fish out the kunai with lightning speed and point it at the one who dared to disturb his sleep. Naruto grinned, perfectly understanding what was going on. It's all because he, Uzumaki, is too noisy. When they went on distant missions, with Kakashi and Sakura as children, they and Uchiha always had to settle down together. The devil knows, maybe their sensei wanted to save money, or maybe force them to find a common language in this way, but Sasuke was never happy about it. Naruto always made noise almost until dawn, jumping around the room and pretending to be a Hokage, throwing a traveling cloak and putting a frying pan on his head. Sasuke covered his ears with pillows. Gradually, Uchiha got used to falling asleep to his noise. By the end of their missions, he no longer woke up when Naruto accidentally fell on him, shook him by the shoulder in the middle of the night, offering to go exploring, tossed and snored incessantly. Regarding Uzumaki, such a shinobi skill as a light sleep was as if specially cut down for the sake of the health of the body. Naruto sat back comfortably, throwing his head back and exhaling clouds of steam. He squinted at the lying serene Sasuke and smiled weakly. The palm continued to lightly, airily stroke the forehead, touch the thick and soft hair, touch the velvety skin. When the hand jumped lower and the fingers went over the warm lips, Naruto felt like an electric shock. Sasuke, as if out of spite, did not wake up. As if he wanted to sleep for the rest of his life. But the sun was already beginning to warm and clear the clearing of diamond dewdrops. It's time to open your eyes and stare at him with irony, under which perplexity is hidden, at the stupid Uzumaki, who is again doing the devil knows what. But nothing like that happened. Naruto breathed in more air into his chest, as before diving into the ocean for pearls and, almost losing his balance from excitement, impetuously approached Sasuke, bending over his still emotionless face. As if not a man, but a statue. He lifted his chin a little higher with 2 fingers. The sun finally hit the ground and smeared on Uchiha's face, which instantly wrinkled. Long, not boyish eyelashes fluttered nervously. Probably, this prompted Naruto to stop stupidly considering Sasuke, and do at least something. Otherwise it will be too late later. Closing his eyes, Naruto touched his parted lips unnecessarily hastily. The palm floated smoothly to the back of the head, riding along the neck. The other hand abruptly, almost convulsively clenched into a fist, scooping up a handful of earth and pulling out blades of grass. Second. The second. Third. Naruto pulled away as abruptly as he had come, plopping down on his ass and unbelievingly wiping his lips with the sleeve of his orange jacket. He didn't want to. I didn't even think about it. The eyes are wide open, a slight shameful blush has appeared on the cheeks. My heart was pounding in panic, it seemed that it was about to burst from overload. What nonsense! That's why he blushed now and turned away from Sasuke like a complete jerk. I couldn't get angry. Generally, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Naruto snapped. Uchiha shrugged, deciding that it was none of his business. By the way, here's the entrance. Sasuke walked up to some small hole in the ground, encircled by a purple ring. I do not know if he is here or not, but the bases are never empty. Let's interview those who live here and get on the right track. He scanned the perimeter with his Sharingan, looking for traps and destroying invisible barriers. Naruto really wanted to start bickering and arguing, but there was nothing to dig into, and he was completely sad. Sasuke pretended not to notice these oddities, blaming everything on the unknown insidious plan of the idiot for ridiculous pranks on him. One more thing. Naruto, squatting down, Sasuke looked up at him. I'm not even counting on you in this case, but try to be a little quieter. Who do you take me for? Naruto exclaimed indignantly. If they were in the middle of snowy mountains, they would have long been boldly a good dozen well-fed and respected avalanches. Sasuke silently closed his eyes. His prolonged silence will be the best reaction. Exhaling, he continued, since some began to believe that we are some kind of criminals and Nikonins in the guise of children from Konoha, yes, okay, Orochimaru should think so too. Naruto rolled his eyes. In front of him, I will not call you Sasuke, but stupid topic what? That will be your nickname, Databeo. Are you an idiot? I don't want that nickname, not everything happens the way you want. He thinks he's the commander here, we're not actually playing with toys, that's right, I'll be your senpai. Everything has to be serious. Dobe. In Sasuke, global changes took place in a split second. What? Cowardly Dobe, no, you started it first. Sasuke pointed his finger at him too childishly. Naruto almost fell in shock from such an unexpected pressure. Frowning, he began to knead his fists. The memories of how Susanu's hand threw him into a thorn bush were still fresh. Now he will put the arrogant muzzle in place and go to catch Orochimaru. But Uchiha's muzzle is a priority. Chief, hey, Chief. Someone's sonorous voice distracted the guys from each other. A handsome naked young man was making his way towards them, stumbling in endless bushes and tall grass. Naruto chuckled, recognizing a member of his reverse harem. What is he doing here? Sasuke pretended not to see or hear anyone, turning away and sitting down to attach the seals to the fishing line. It was not enough for him to take part in this circus. Oh, how sweet it is! The handsome man exclaimed, finally reaching them. He did not think to be ashamed of his nakedness, considering it his advantageous advantage. The lowly version of our Sasuke-kun is just wonderful, Naruto blushed, trying not to think about what his clone was saying, his double with the same brains and thoughts as him. Sasuke reacted quite sharply. He quickly threw the kunai over his back, hitting the clone right in the eye. It dissipated with a pop. Naruto wanted to shout that his clone should not be treated so rudely, and that, blah, 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 but the clone's memories replaced the indignation, flashing like an arrow in his mind. You have some kind of defective one. He was talking nonsense, Sasuke commented on his actions. There's unrest in Konoha right now, stupid topic. Uzumaki began to report, dumping everything at once and excitedly. My harem is fighting for Sakura, who kills them for walking naked. Ino Shikacho's team has arrived in Konoha, and now the elders have sent Jounin fighting squads to us, and there they are trying to catch Sakura. Will we even have time to do everything? We'd better hurry, Sasuke replied, digesting the flow of information. Things are taking a nasty turn. They carefully, silently made their way inside. Uchiha was even surprised at how focused Naruto had learned to become. Well, one more advantage, the endless maze of corridors greeted them amiably with millions of flaming torches. As if the village is not accidentally destroyed, Sakura furrowed her forehead with concern, dodging the kunai of some very green chunits. Remembering their old exam, she couldn't help but wonder how such weaklings were able to pass it at all. Or did she not notice how she herself had matured and become much stronger? I was chasing Naruto and Sasuke, and I completely stopped seeing how much I broke away from other shinobi, she thought. Sakura jumped on the tiled roofs of low cozy houses, ducking and restrained repelling attacks. It is unlikely to be possible to say goodbye to parents. At least she would be able to meet them in her own world. Sasuke was much less lucky with his brother. Itachi is alive now. Does he want to see him? Sakura asked herself and sighed thoughtfully. Uchiha's motives were never clear to her. The devil knows what's going through his head this time. Ducking into a narrow alley, she transformed into an ordinary old lady, whimsically groaned and trotted out, leaning on a weighty cane. So far, relatively safe. I looked around. The perimeter is clear. The battle began incredibly suddenly. Combat squads showed up to them just when they were performing one of the many D-rank missions. The Uchiha clone had to rush Kakashi into Genjutsu, which was not immediately possible, because the latter skillfully resisted. His submission cost Team Number 715 Naruto clones and 1 Sasuke clone. Sakura was incredibly infuriated that help had come, like this, in the guise of naked girls and men, who immediately made a mess all over Konoha. Sakura first ran from one to the other, warning not to ruin anything, and then she got tired and just began to wet everyone who caught her eye. "Hey, Sakura-chan." One of the girls, with 2 long yellow tails, waved her hand. Naruto recognized her, then, by the chakra. "It's bad. What a shame." Sakura snapped, well, quite like an old lady, noticing Umbu out of the corner of her eye, watching them from around the corner of the police building. "We need to maintain secrecy. Aren't you ashamed to walk around here naked and disgrace your clan?" Poked the stick at the stunned girl, who almost fell on her ass from the pressure. Sakura, what are you doing?" She did not understand, rubbing her stomach, where the blow fell. Another one crept up to the Umbu watching from around the corner and whispered something quickly, pointing a finger at the old lady, that is, Sakura. "We need to do something urgently," Haruno mused. The Umbu clearly suspect her. "Shut up, Naruto, shut up. Pretend that you are an ordinary girl who forgot to put on a towel after the hot springs. And get out of my sight." Suddenly Uzumaki accepted her request and played it right. But the shinobi in bird masks didn't look fooled. They were menacingly advancing on Sakura, competently surrounding from all sides. "There's nothing to lose." Haruno returned to her previous form, took gloves out of her bag and slowly put them on. "I hope I can defeat them without destroying half of Konoha. It's better to give up right away. You'd better give up. Take care of the landscape." "What does she mean?" One shinobi asked the other. Sakura clenched her hands into fists and adjusted the flow of chakra. "Now. The fight is about to begin. The sun is at its zenith, a fly buzzes nearby, they stand frozen, trying on, aiming, 5-on-1. Pft. A clone disappeared somewhere nearby, and this was the signal for an attack. Sakura, to be honest, is fucked up. How long has she been like this? A week? 2? The chakra is then depleted, then accumulates, then flows in. She was so tired of the eternal worries about the outcome that now she simply gave up on the consequences. No one, damn it, thinks about her. Well, why would she bother? Yeah, she freaked out a little. She drove her fist into the ground, and the Umbu flew several meters away before they could attack. Cracks crawled all over Konoha, like a lot of hungry snakes. The blows brought her joy, and Sakura continued to beat. From the outside, it looked as if she had a pathological hatred for all surfaces of the world, floors, walls, ceiling. Evacuation. Urgent evacuation. In Konoha, they blew all the trumpets, grabbed the most valuable things. Shinobi ran out into the street mixed with civilians. The city gradually emptied, giving Sakura the opportunity to have fun without victims. Anyway, pain will destroy everything clean after a few years. Now naked products of the perverted fantasy of Naruto, Sakura, who decided to turn the village into a training ground, fucking from all over the Umbu and Sasuke's clone, who disappeared at the very beginning, wandered around Konoha. He probably chose a quieter place and is now sitting, eating tomatoes and admiring the destruction, nostalgic for the old days, and yet how nice it is to feel strong. Not to hide behind Naruto and Sasuke, but to fight as you please, destroying buildings, dodging numerous kunai, to attack without thinking that you need to back someone up. Freedom, Shinaro. She grabbed the enemy shinobi by the scruff of the neck, threw it over her head and delightfully slammed into the ground. The other, flying away from the blow, caught on a branch, and now hung there, convulsively recovering his breath. Sakura followed the flight of the third one by placing her palm with a visor. It flies well, Konoha has not experienced such shocks for a long time, since the attack of the nine-tailed, perhaps. People watched with horror from the nostrils of the second Hokage for what was happening. Sarutobi came to the place with a giant shuriken. At first he watched from afar, and his senile mouth opened wider and wider. Tsunade? Is that you? He exclaimed, jumping out to the front line. Well, stop the farce, you're such a drunk. Sakura slowed down. She got carried away with a little something. Attack on the root of Umbu. An attack on the root of Umbu. The shinobi who jumped out of the window of the dark building interrupted them. Someone has infiltrated the main secret department. Sakura and the third Hokage exchanged puzzled glances. They took off synchronously. Surely Naruto and Sasuke are back, Sakura thought. But why would they get in there? But the closer she got to the main building, the less she believed that her teammates could do that. Wounded shinobi were lying unconscious on the way. Sakura jumped up to them and felt that they had absolutely no chakra. It had been a long time since she had smelled the metallic smell of baking blood. If she had come running a couple of hours later, they would have been dead by now. Tsunade, summon Katsuya. Hiruzen ordered, looking anxiously at the lifeless bodies. Sakura obeyed. Katsuya looked at her with obvious skepticism, and clearly demanded an explanation of how some girl managed to summon her. You'll figure it out for yourself later, Katsuya. Just help these people now. But the boys did not think of returning to Konoha without information. They wandered through the damp, endless tunnels, listening to every rustle. Dobe. Sasuke whispered to Uzumaki, who was trailing behind him. Aren't you a censor now, what? Yes. So why are we walking in circles here? Do you feel Orochimaru's chakra, MMM? A golden glow formed around Naruto. We turn left. What's the matter with you all day? Nothing. Uzumaki turned away and quickened his pace. Orochimaru is here, yeah, of course, nothing. How can you forget about your own abilities? Sasuke sighed, not knowing how to extract the reason from Yuzuru Tonkaki. He's a friend now, after all. Even if he is afraid of such a level of relationship, he is not used to it and, perhaps, is a little afraid, but, friends should ask, right? Or should friends be more tactful? How difficult everything is. He always shared everything with his brother, but Naruto is a different case. Yes, and in childhood Sasuke was a different person, capable of cordiality, and Naruto. His eye twitched with the effort. What happened? How hard it turns out to be. Asking for a discussion of problems. Uzumaki only waved his hand in response, which, in Sasuke's opinion, was a manifestation of the highest degree of neglect. So he is trying, for his sake he goes against his cold unfriendly nature, and this one. Then go to hell. I do not know how to tell you, it happened by accident, Naruto chattered, apparently unable to stand it. Leave me alone, Sasuke lowered his head. Is he a little dog, running to the call after such insulting gestures? Naruto stopped abruptly and turned to him. Are you offended? No. What are you offended about? In response, Uchiha waved in the same way as Naruto had done before. The blonde got it. With an amazing speed for him. I'm sorry, it's really hard to say. Although if I don't tell you, I think I'll burst. Databeo, he smiled nervously and scratched his head. In the dark, it was not too clear what emotions he was experiencing, and therefore Sasuke was waiting for anything. What if, for example, he missed ramen and now tries to convince him to come back and stock up? While you were sleeping, I wrote something on my forehead? Sasuke ran his palm over his face, trying to find a trace of a pen or felt tip pen. Close your eyes. Eyes are my weapon, Naruto. I don't want to be defenseless. Orochimaru can pass here at any moment. Don't be boring and just close it. Sighing, Sasuke obeyed, feeling the tension that instantly arose between them. He heard a rustle. Naruto approached him, then felt his breath on his cheek. Sasuke instinctively put his hand forward and rested on his chest. What are you? Something warm touched his lips. And soft. Sasuke at first did not realize what it could be, but when he realized, the body was struck by a tremor of fright. A pale hand tightly squeezed Naruto's t-shirt. Coming to his senses, Sasuke abruptly backed away, breaking an innocent kiss and crashing the back of his head into the wall. You, what are you? Sasuke babbled incoherently, ceasing to understand everything around him. Didn't you understand? I thought you were smarter. I don't understand. Nothing, he said, still not opening his eyes. He thought that if he opened them and looked at Naruto standing in front of him, something would change and break forever. He tried not to betray that in fact what had happened had scared him, but his hands were nervously kneading his shorts by themselves, and the muscles of his body were trembling slightly. The more insecure Sasuke looked, the braver Naruto felt. After all, Uchiha didn't look like he was disgusted. The blonde himself did not understand why he did so, and twice. He just wanted to do it, that's all. Naruto felt that the emotions he felt when kissing Sasuke were the strongest and most sweeping. It was something unknown, frightening, but still attractive. Didn't you understand anything at all? Nothing. Then let's do it again. Naruto approached him again and touched his lips. Although Sasuke was still more motionless than the statue, but it turned out better. Probably because Uzumaki himself was no longer thinking about what he was crazy to do, but about how to make it softer, so that Sasuke would not have a heart attack. Oh shit, what a moral pleasure he got from the mere thought that he was kissing, yes, kissing Sasuke himself. And he seems to have flown into prostration for a long time. Gently pulling away, Naruto tried to take his trembling hands in his own, but Sasuke pulled away and grabbed himself, clenching his palms so that Naruto screamed. Probably broke a couple of bones. Kurama will have to wake up. Sasuke, stop it. It hurts. Uzumaki twitched, but to no avail. That's enough. Okay, I won't do it anymore, just let me out. Sasuke looked down at his feet, biting his cheek from the inside. Bangs hit her eyes. He shifted from one foot to the other for a couple of seconds, as if thinking intensely about something, and then pushed Uzumaki away and walked briskly forward along the corridor. Let's get busy, Sasuke said dryly, having completely restored his mental balance. Naruto rubbed his sore hands with displeasure. They openly entered a barely lit wide hall with a high ceiling. On the edges of the nest were huge cabinets, studded with scrolls up to the sky. In the middle was a surgical table, on which a man was reclining with his chest open. Blood and mucus were decorated with gloved hands, which then sank deep into the body, then surfaced. The meek Kabuto stood nearby as always and handed Orochimaru tool by tool, understanding him from the middle of the word. Sasuke squinted, thoughtfully examining the figure in round glasses. Who knew how many things a nondescript assistant would do in the future? If it wasn't for him, hey, Orochimaru! Naruto shouted, without a bit of ceremony. The two experimenters jumped up in sync and stared in their direction. A nine-tailed fox and a little Uchiha? Snake hissed, instantly forgetting about the test subject. Throwing it at Kabuto, he walked slowly towards them. Green eyes with a narrow vertical pupil glittered intensely, a kunai clenched in a white palm flashed behind his back. He sensed, with a snake's sense, that something was wrong here. If they were just children, would they have managed to get inside, get past all the barriers and traps and remain unnoticed? No, Orochimaru stretched out, stopping at a safe distance. It's not you. Who are you and what do you want? We need you to revive the first Hokage, Sasuke replied. Orochimaru exchanged glances with Kabuto. How do you know about Ito Tensei? Who are you? You don't have to know about this, Sasuke snapped. Do what you're told. Topic, wait, Naruto waved his hands. Such rigidity was unusual for him. Let's be more diplomatic somehow. What a cad you have a friend. I propose an exchange. Orochimaru felt strong chakra flows from them, and therefore decided not to join the battle. He cannot be exhausted and, God forbid, die. Ahead of the Chunin exam and a grandiose plan to kidnap the real Uchiha and kill the third Hokage. You tell me who you are, and I, so be it, resurrect the first Hokage so that he answers your questions. Resurrection first. Okay, Orochimaru realized that he had no choice. Either he enters into an unprofitable and unnecessary battle with strong opponents, or he does everything as they say. The situation is not pleasant. Therefore, he decided to put up with it and save at least something in the situation, his reputation. They went deep into the hall and ducked through a door that was almost invisible between the shelves. The lintel was located so low that even little Naruto and Sasuke had to duck. Kabuto. He called his assistant. Bring the body. What about the experiment, Orochimaru-sama? We have a lot of other test subjects. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances, seeing that the brunette does not care about the fate of prisoners languishing in the dungeons. Naruto turned away. Sasuke isn't like that. Not like that in the shower. Does he really like to look so insensitive? Someone suggested to be more diplomatic. Don't look so angry, he whispered in the blonde's ear, constantly watching Kabuto, bringing an insensible body into a stuffy room. Naruto for some reason pulled away too abruptly and sat away, nervously adjusting his collar. Meanwhile, Orochimaru was lighting candles. They're killing innocent people, he muttered into his jacket. This man is dead in the future anyway. Sasuke tried not to react to the stupid gesture of transplanting, but still it didn't make him angry and hurt. Why is Naruto acting like this with him? But why don't we save the others? I saved most of them in the future. And don't think up all sorts of heroics, you idiot, Sasuke blurted out and closed his eyes, catching his breath. And something throws him into the heat, then into the cold. Shattered the entire nervous system. Naruto, asshole, why did you kiss me? How awkward he felt, feeling that Naruto was staring at him. I couldn't stand it and threw him a quick glance. Both abruptly turned away, blushing like idiots. Meanwhile, the body of the subject began to envelop a strange matter, resembling either withered leaves or pieces of sand. Sasuke prepared himself internally. Naruto stood up, tapping his sandals on the granite floor with impatience. There was a kind but stern face, red-brown armor, a forehead protector with the sign of the village of the hidden leaf, and long brown hair fluttering behind his back. And here he was, the first Hokage, the strongest and wisest fighter in history, the first reincarnation of Ashura himself, standing in front of them and looking around curiously. I told Tobirama, his experiments with resurrection will not lead to good. Who are you? Please come out. Naruto asked Orochimaru with Kabuto. We need to talk face to face. When they disappeared, Uzumaki jumped up to the Hokage and bowed. We had such an idiotic situation. He whispered confidentially to the Hokage. In general, I am Naruto Uzumaki. He pointed towards the silent brunette, Sasuke Uchiha, and in theory, we are 17. But we got into our past bodies, and now we don't know how to get everything back. It's about the Rikuta watch. Kurama told me that you might know something about it. Wow. What an adventure. Hokage admired. And how is it now in Konoha? Have the wars stopped? So far everything is peaceful, but in the future there will be the last, the biggest war. We will need your help, so know that this is not the last resurrection. And also, oh, why so detailed? No need. We'll wait and see. In your case, we'd rather die, ha ha ha, exactly. They laughed at the stupid joke as if they had never heard anything funnier in their lives. Uchiha leaned against the wall and rolled his eyes. Two idiots found each other. Half an hour later, Sasuke woke up from his soul-wrenching thoughts and saw that they were sharing stories from life with might and main, completely forgetting about the case. In short, I'm going to the hot springs with Jiraiya. Of course, thirsty, tired. And then I think, why not call a frog and jump on it? We are riding with Jiraiya, we are riding, and now, the springs are not far away, right in front of our eyes, Databeo. And then I decide why not jump over the fence on a hammock and jump into the water with a bomb. Jiraiya yells something after me, I speed up, Naruto. Sasuke sent him one of his trademark frightening looks, but he didn't even react, brushing off like a fly and continuing to talk excitedly. And again Uchiha felt offended. I had to hit Naruto to react, duh. Hey. Hashirama was indignant. I want to know what happened next. You'll find out when you tell me what you know about the Rikuta watch, Sasuke replied. A Rikuta watch? Hokage thought about it. Ah, he waved his hand, cheering up again, I gave them to Tobirama, ask him. After all, this is a very dangerous thing. God forbid they fall into the wrong hands, duh. That's how. Orochimaru. He left the room, duh. Topic, where are you going? Naruto shouted after him. Sasuke didn't answer. Yuzuru Tonkiki was annoying, because he could not understand the motives of such behavior. Then he, kisses him for some reason, then pulls away and tries to ignore him. Maybe it's some kind of game, so what happened next? So, I accelerate, and Hamakichi makes a fantastic jump. Sources are in the palm of your hand. We fly over one pool, hotel, and fly to another. We seem to get caught. I dispel the technique in flight, curl up with a bomb, squint and bang. There were so many splashes that it seems all the water has flowed away. And then I come up, look around, and around, the door creaked and Sasuke and Kabuto tumbled in, dragging a new bloody body. Naruto fell silent in the middle of the sentence. Duh. So what happened next? Hokage was burning with curiosity. Naruto stared at the trail of blood drops. And then he turned his gaze to Sasuke. He was not a fool, so he came up, grabbed Uchiha by the hand and dragged her outside, dragging her towards the corridors where there were no witnesses. Did you just kill him? Yes, Sasuke looked into piercing blue eyes that sparkled with disappointment and anger. Uchiha did not like this look. Naruto was clearly unhappy. Why? Didn't you know that resurrection requires a body? Don't you care about life at all? No way. Such a tragedy, one of the tens of thousands of prisoners. Orochimaru died. How do we even sleep at night, knowing that someone is dying in the world at this time? Sasuke said in one breath. Idiot. He's not Naruto, and he's not white and fluffy all of himself. Are you kidding me now? Naruto didn't understand. Yes, I'm kidding. His death was a matter of time. Naruto pushed away and headed back. But he was not satisfied with the answer and pulled him back. Any death is a matter of time. What a wise thought. Sasuke continued to exude venom. Uchiha was angry with himself, terribly angry. For forgetting himself for a minute, relaxing and allowing himself to behave the way he used to. And now Naruto's disappointed look is like a sobering slap on the back of the head, indicating the presence of a giant gap between them. Sasuke felt terrible. I remembered the conversation around the campfire, and Naruto's words that when they return, their paths will still diverge. Well, yes, he made Sasuke believe that everything would be fine, that everything had already been settled, and that it was impossible to decide for people, but, in fact, he remained the same monster that the world had shaped him. But then why was Naruto so surprised by his act? Did he really think otherwise? Is he really such a fool? Stop fiddling around. And you stop acting like I owe you something, Uchiha snapped. These words unpleasantly echoed in Naruto's heart. Why do I even have to justify myself for who I am? In fact, we tolerate each other only because we both hope to be friends as before. Don't forget that this is just an illusion, and I'm not the same now as I was when I was 12. Naruto refused to believe it. Sasuke says that on purpose, doesn't he? But why? Why is he so insensitively, ruthlessly starting to cut everything? They had just begun to understand each other. Yes, I did. This is necessary for Ito Tensei. Understand as you want. But Sasuke. Uchiha left. Naruto whispered a curse after him. He was left thinking, leaning against the wall. The head was attacked by different thoughts. In order not to torment himself by scrolling through the offensive remarks of Uchiha, Naruto began to think about the case. On the one hand, it's stupid to argue now, not to extract information from the second Hokage, since they have revived it. And on the other hand, if Naruto returns there, to the room, it's as if he agrees that murder is a necessity. What a terrible place they were in after all. I have to put up with Orochimaru's fanaticisms, just not to change the course of time. Naruto has great power, but it's not enough. He is an unpredictable ninja, but the passage of time is even more unpredictable. Maybe they don't have to come back? They will live here for 3 years, they will change the story in their own way, Neji will stay alive, other good guys too. And no one needs to die for the sake of resurrection. What an opportunity they have in their hands. A chance to change everything. Sasuke's thoughts were spinning in the same direction when he questioned the second Hokage. A couple of times he cast frowning glances in the direction of Orochimaru and Kabuto, thinking about the consequences of their untimely death. He could kill them. Right now, just come up and interrupt existence with a short-aimed blow. They will play a huge role in the future. Orochimaru will lure him out of the village, and he will be left alone again. Full of hate. Again forgetting other feelings. Who knows, he would have refused revenge, being surrounded by support, having a friend. At one point, Sasuke jerked behind kunai, intending to make his dream come true. A tiny movement of the little finger. No, he can't. This is just a momentary weakness, he decided everything for himself at the beginning. Sasuke went out alone. The bodies of 2 Hokages scattered behind. We need to look at the root of the umbu. He hid the watch somewhere on the upper floors and didn't tell anyone anything. Said Sasuke so casually, as if they hadn't just quarreled. As if there were no heavy thoughts in my head. Then how did the watch end up on the road? Naruto replied warily. Sasuke shrugged his shoulders. Apparently, during the attack of pain boldly they climbed out of the dungeon in painful silence. They also walked in silence, looking anywhere but at each other. Naruto hadn't felt so bad around him for a long time. He was still uncomfortable with what Sasuke had said. Did he really care about everything? Are you going to sulk? The brunette asked him with an even more insulting mockery in his voice. And you're going to pretend to be a moral freak? Sasuke rolled his eyes. You're acting like a fool. Did I ever look like a worthless fool in your eyes? The blonde man blurted out and immediately shut his mouth. It sounded too stupid somehow. You're a fool if you don't understand that I am a moral freak. Without pretense. I'm a fool too, if that's any consolation. Why? Because I allowed myself to think that you, Sasuke hesitated, intensely choosing the word, that you would understand. And in fact, you haven't cared for a long time, you just wanted to straighten me out like a crooked tooth. If I am not executed, put in prison, then I will leave, and you will not keep me. Doesn't this imply that speeches about friendship and other things are empty words? Is that the reason you were afraid to tell me? I'm probably like a diffused explosive seal in your eyes, you can throw it away. Right? No, not like that. Then why, after all these years, did you suddenly decide to let me go? It sounds like you don't want to let go, Naruto suddenly said. Yes, I do. Satisfied? He spread his hands to the sides. God, why did he say that? I wanted to make Naruto angry, but in the end I got angry myself. Do you want you to always leave when you feel like it, and I'll run after you like some kind of boyfriend? Why can't you stay in Konoha with me? Because I don't belong there. And where is the place? I do not know. Sasuke turned away. But but I know exactly what place you occupy in my life. And you, Dobe, suddenly start spoiling everything with your own, and I stopped understanding anything at all. I begin to relax, to create nonsense, to reveal myself not from the best sides. So all this hysteria about the kiss? Naruto asked in shock. Sasuke silently kicked the pebble. He didn't agree, but he didn't deny it either. Naruto shoved his hands into his pockets and quickened his pace. He struggled to cope with the treacherous blush on his cheeks, which flared up so inappropriately. He was terrified beyond belief. He wanted to shout, "Forget it," to the point of stupefaction, but he couldn't get his vocal cords to work. And the scariest thing to admit, he didn't want the opportunity to kiss Uchiha to disappear. It was a special feeling, inexpressibly strong, on the verge of bursting the chest. He was both creepy and uncomfortable, and pleasant to the point of trembling. It was some kind of new, special way to convey how he feels about Sasuke. And if Uchiha answers him at least once, then, probably, it will be one of the strongest sensual shocks in life. I don't know why I did it. It just seemed to me that it should be done. What is needed? Need to. Sasuke croaked, staring at him in amazement. Let's go. Naruto waved his hand, looking at the horizon. Right now we need to be alert, ahead of the Hunins. We'll talk more later. They didn't talk anymore. A conversation after such a quarrel seemed impossible in principle. But the misunderstanding between them only intensified. Naruto couldn't understand why Sasuke reacted to the kiss so wrongly and acutely. Nor did he understand what motivates him, why, if he wants Naruto to return him, he still decided to leave Konoha, which means almost everything to Naruto. Does he really want him, the future Hokage, to choose between him and the village? And if he chooses it, what can it lead to at all? Are they going to walk around the world together? Is this the future? Sasuke didn't understand what Naruto wanted from him. Until that moment, he considered their friendly chatter just a game, a voluntary immersion in the illusion of childhood, an attempt to abstract from reality, from their present time, where everyone wakes up from the eternal Tsukiyomi, where he, the last Uchiha, is waiting for punishment. Just a game of kids. As if nothing was happening. As if they were a newly formed team number 7 with stupid squabbles, Naruto the fool, Sakura furious at everyone and with him, a closed, but reaching out to communicate with the whole crippled being along the way, they overpowered and tied up several Hunins, without talking to each other in any way. They don't need words to coordinate their actions. After that, they turned into a couple of defeated ones, so as not to arouse suspicion. A couple more hours, and they are in the village. Sasuke wrote a letter and sent the bird to Sakura, informing her that they would be there soon. Half an hour later the answer came. Haruno begged them to hurry up, because someone penetrated the root of the umbu, and she has to help the third and Danzo in disguise, so as not to spoil the teacher's reputation, since she was mistaken for her because of the techniques. I don't understand, is it in our favor or not? Naruto scratched the back of his head, breaking the long silence. If a few years later, Rikudo's watch turned up on the road, then this someone did not get in behind them, Sasuke replied dryly. So that's on hand. They decided to speed up and use the transfer, so 15 minutes later they were already at the main gate, at which only Kotetsu was on duty. Apparently, all forces are concentrated on eliminating the enemy from the umbu. As soon as he saw them in the guise of Hunins, he hurriedly jumped out from behind the table and ran up to them. Have you found any accomplices? No. Well, it's not necessary, everything turned out, it was Tsunade having fun with her drinking buddies. Now run to the help of the root building. What the hell is going on there? Good. They exchanged glances and ran between the dilapidated streets. Dust hung in the air and interfered with the view. Kunai were stuck into the wreckage of the walls, puddles of water were drying somewhere, curtains from fire techniques were burning down somewhere. Some girl was lying down, pinned down by the stove, and was struggling to get out. Naruto was horrified to recognize the unfortunate Hinata and ran closer. This shouldn't happen, it's completely not according to plan. Together, he and Sasuke pulled her out and laid her far away, behind the house, on the dusty grass. Is it really Sakura by chance? Sasuke asked, thoughtfully examining the noisy breathing Hyuga, who was on the verge of fainting. Sasuke, it's not her. Someone sucked the chakra out of her. Completely. If she hadn't been fighting for the last crumbs of strength, she would have been dead by now. Hinata, come on, wake up. He took her by the hand and began to slowly pour his own chakra. What's going on here anyway? Someone, apparently, decided to take advantage of the commotion. Maybe it's pain? Who else is able to suck out the chakra? And suddenly he became quiet and looked thoughtfully at Sasuke. What are you? Uchiha did not have time to understand at least something, when suddenly kunai bit into his hand. What are you doing? For a second, I thought you were a clone. Thank you for your trust, he said, taking out bandages and bandaging the scratch. Cats were scratching at my soul. Ahead was a dark, gloomy building with the Umbu emblem. Smoke was pouring out of some windows, there were pops from the explosions of seals, and now and then everything was rumbling from someone's powerful blows. Naruto and Sasuke got inside and immediately coughed from the smell of burning. Why are you standing there like idiots, but help quickly. Danzo barked at them from the upper floors. Sasuke gave him an angry look, then ran away to a place invisible to prying eyes and turned to Naruto. Find this assailant and beat the crap out of him, and I'll go upstairs for the clock. Suddenly, his own clone grew up near Uchiha. Apparently, he also took part in the battle. It's amazing that the technique has not been dispelled for so long. Follow me, he said to the clone and disappeared with him to the upper floors. Naruto ran to the side where the most noise was heard. Ahead, he spotted Tsunade and accelerated. Sakura. It's you? What's going on here? Haruno whirled around to face him. At first, genuine bewilderment shone in her eyes, but then she squeezed him in a tight embrace with a joyful cry. How glad I am to see you, my fool. I didn't even recognize it right away in this form. Where's Sasuke? The clock is in this building, he went with a clone to get it. So who attacked you? We don't know. But he occupied the whole floor, we surrounded him from all sides, and now we are climbing through traps. Most likely, he is in front of a few rooms away. Hey, Naruto, stop, and what will happen to him? He has the cover of the nine-tailed. Naruto ran inside at full speed, ignoring the kunai flying into him, taking out the ones that got into the body on the move and immediately healing. He dodged explosions, jumped over the floor that suddenly disappeared under his feet, noticing that the attacker had a good command of barrier genjutsu. Then he stumbled into one of the rooms and heard a suspicious rustle in the next room. Naruto immediately ducked behind the wall. His gaze followed the handful of kunai that were digging into the wall opposite. Everything was in smoke. Naruto couldn't see how much, he couldn't distinguish who he was fighting against. Blindly threw kunai at an unknown opponent. Who are you? He shouted over the wall. And who are you? They answered him in an unexpectedly familiar old voice. The Rasengan in his hand went out when he realized who he had almost retired. Old Sarutobi. He suddenly exclaimed. It's me. He hung for a second. Jiraiya, well, prove it, imposter. From the shelter, Naruto stuck out his hand with a frantically spinning bluish Rasengan. Uzumaki immediately turned into a teacher and went outside, completely copying his habits and manner of speech. Yes, what is it? The two of you and Tsunade got so drunk. The third began to scold him menacingly. No, no. He waved his hands. I mean, yes. Ha ha ha. That is, it wasn't me who attacked the root. I thought that you were the enemy behind the wall. Then where is this bastard? I don't know. Have you seen him, teacher? Yes, no one really saw him. Only we decided that we surrounded him, and he disappeared somewhere. We need to see how Asuma and Juhi are. For sure he hid in their direction and climbed out through the window. They turned left and ran. Indeed, 2 Hunins were lying without chakra and unconscious, and the window was broken. With annoyance, the 3rd Hokage spat. Naruto jumped up and began to slowly pour chakra into them. Asuma was the first to recover. Did you see who it was? Uzumaki asked excitedly, shaking him by the shoulder. Meanwhile, Hiruzen was helping Kurenai up, holding her elbow. Asuma cleared his throat from the dust in his fist and looked at Naruto in the guise of Jiraiya. Hello. So you saw who it was? Uzumaki repeated his question. It all happened so fast. Very fast. He sucked all the strength out of us with one touch. I tried using genjutsu on him, but he deflected it, Kurenai whispered softly. He has Uchiha eyes, that's for sure. Jiraiya-san, Sasuke and the clone quietly penetrated to the top floor while they were fighting fiercely below. There was no one on the floor, but it wouldn't hurt to be careful. Uchiha instructed the clone to set traps for them and went deep into the corridors, looking for Department 53rd. It was there, according to the 2nd Hokage, that the watch was lying. He pulled the handle, it was closed. Without any ceremony, Sasuke kicked out the door with his foot and went inside. A clone followed him. Stand in the door and watch, Sasuke ordered him and went to the bookshelf. For a couple of minutes he stood stupidly, reading the scrolls. The 2nd Hokage is a jerk. Does he not understand that to say between a scroll about the power of the spirit and a scroll about the power of the body is stupid? Time has passed, it's a mess. Instead of answering, the clone released a fireball towards the scrolls, briskly setting them on fire. You read minds, Sasuke grinned, taking out the same watch on a chain from the ashes. Yes, it all started with them. The return to the future is already close, it remains only to find Sakura and Naruto. But, Uchiha, without looking up, looked at the dial, thinking about something else entirely. Are you thinking about it too? The clone's voice suddenly rang out. Sasuke raised his eyes and looked into his own cold and mocking pupils. Seeing yourself from the outside, it turns out, is not a pleasant sight. About destroying the clock and starting over? Sasuke nodded faintly, sighing and sinking into a worn chair. He threw his feet on the table, soiling piles of dusty sheets. Outside the window, the unfortunate Konoha was smoking, warmed by the rays of the setting sun. I knew right away it was you. He finally said, biting his lip. I had exactly 1 clone left. Well, how much chakra do you have? A lot. The clone went deep and sat down opposite, throwing his feet on the table, completely copying the original. I thought that since I'm languishing at home all day anyway as a backup clone, then why not do something at least? Of course, I didn't think there would be a watch here, but I wanted to find at least some information about them. Good approach. But why bring people to death? You know you don't have an infinite chakra. And I, as a clone, have even less of it. I wouldn't have survived. A long pause. No, I was ready to die and send all the information to you, that's the purpose of my existence. But why die ahead of time? We have a serious goal and it is necessary to take such measures, Sasuke sighed. He turned the watch over in his hands, thinking. He killed a man himself. What kind of behavior did he expect from his own clone? I was really thinking about the future. Both Naruto and Sakura thought for sure. Tell me, what have you come to? I propose to destroy the clock. The clone's face took on a hard expression. You could save your brother, fix your life, prevent all the troubles at the stage of their conception. If you hadn't gotten to them earlier, I would have done it on my own, Sasuke chuckled. You know, I was thinking of killing Yakushi Kabuto, Orochimaru's assistant. He brought Madara back to life, he brought everything to the resurrection of Kaguya, and because of this, I received a huge power, Rinnegan, and therefore I was able to act against them all again. If it wasn't, everything would probably be less painful. So, I was thinking of killing Kabuto and being transported to a completely different future. It is safer to relive these years again. Perhaps they fell silent again, looking at the clock with a deliberately bored look. So, do we use Amaterasu? The clone spoke up. You will say that you fought with the attacker, that is, me, and accidentally set them on fire. After all, we are different in some ways. I have more personality every day, the clone shrugged. I have to discuss this decision with them. Why, if they want to destroy the clock, I will agree. If not, I will accept this. Don't you want to take responsibility? I don't want to. Think better of yourself. The clone flared up sharply. Sasuke looked at him warily, hiding the watch behind his back in his hand. You'll see Itachi, you'll even be able to save him. The three of you will prevent a lot of troubles. Don't be an idiot, you're still my original. Do you understand that this is just another deception of yourself? Listen, let's do this. At the last second, you will change yourself with me with the help of Rinnegan. When I get divorced in the future, it will be too late for Naruto and Sakura to do anything. I don't want to do that, Uchiha cut off harshly. How will I differ from Madara then? He also built castles in the air for everyone. You are my clone, and I know what considerations you are guided by. You want to save me from prison, from punishment, from all the bad things that await me in the future, and also to save Itachi. I've already said goodbye to him, Sasuke said softly, clutching his watch tightly. The edge bit into the palm and tore the skin. And people, let them suffer and be punished for mistakes, let them grow up and struggle with the hardships of this world, rather than be a happy flock of sheep. That's how we started talking, the clone chuckled. Well, if you don't want it in a good way, it will be in a bad way. Sasuke did not have time to react, as he rushed at him and knocked the watch out of his hands with a blow. Uchiha kicked him away with his foot and just tried to fold the seals in order to disperse the technique, as he jumped up and rushed at him, kunai preventing his disappearance. Sasuke dodged several kunai and clung to the floor. Noticing a clock stained with blood near the shelf, he began to crawl up to them. But the clone intercepted the direction of his gaze. His right eye lit up with a scarlet mangekai. It's going to burn now, it's definitely going to burn now. At the last second, Sasuke activated the Rinnegan and pulled the watch towards him. Amaterasu ignited the rack, Sasuke immediately extinguished it, backing away from the clone. But he was not going to give him a second to breathe, because give him just a couple of moments, and the original will fold the seals. Uchiha threw a black flame at him, but the clone quickly dodged and jumped up, knocking the Rikudo watch out of his hand again. Sasuke swapped places with the clock and flew instead with his back to one of the shelves, dispelling the cloning technique in flight. Sasuke? Out of breath, Naruto looked in the door just when the ill-fated clone dispersed, and a cabinet with a bunch of leaves and thick folios fell on Uchiha. He rushed forward, scattering scrolls in all directions and helping Sasuke to free himself. Are you completely crazy? Naruto could barely contain his laughter. What? How crazy you have to be to quarrel with your own clone. Naruto was laughing at the top of his voice. Oh, I can't. I mean, he attacked the root, right? Yes. Without your knowledge? Yes. Ha 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 ha. I don't see anything funny, he frowned, pulling pieces of paper out of his hair. There's a reason I've never liked this technique. What a jerk you are sometimes. I can't. Stop laughing. Sasuke was really angry, who was already ashamed of the absurdity of what was happening. Boys, there you are. Sakura looked in on them. Barely got rid of Danzo and the third. We don't have much time, we need to get out of here. She examined them and suddenly noticed a cut on Sasuke's hand. "Oh my god, Sasuke-kun, you're hurt." She landed and began to treat the palm. Naruto seemed about to burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. "He also wounded you." "Who hurt you?" Naruto quickly retold the story to her, and now they were both laughing. Sasuke felt doubly ashamed. He tried to jump up and crawl away from them into some dark and damp corner, but Naruto grabbed his hand and tripped him, dumping him on himself and wrapping him in a tight embrace. "That's what I love you for, is that only you can do all sorts of nonsense with such a serious face." "Idiot," he said dryly and hastily pulled himself out of the stranglehold. He turned his head, looking for something under his feet. There was a Rikudo watch lying around somewhere. Sasuke abruptly translated the topic, kicking aside the interfering books and papers with his feet. "You distracted me with conversations, I forgot where they flew to. Now look for them yourself. And I'm tired of Rinnegan, I have a headache. He sat down on a chair, put his feet on the table and closed his eyes. On the third hour of the search, Naruto and Sakura began to suspect something. It can't be so idiotic. They've been going to their goal for so long, they've done so much, and now they can't find a damn clock in one small cluttered office. This is ridiculous. They went through absolutely everything, licked every piece of paper inside and out. Naruto even managed to learn a secret technique from one of the scrolls. No, it can't really be that ridiculous. It's not like some Rikudo rat greedy for artifacts stole them." Tired of fruitless searches, Naruto and Sakura lay in papers and made angels, waving their legs and arms. And suddenly it dawned on both of them. "That's what I thought," Naruto said, taking out the same watch from the pocket of the sleeping Sasuke. "You took revenge, you scoundrel. Let's draw him a mustache." Sakura whispered conspiratorially, shoving Naruto sideways. He smiled nastily and nodded. They rummaged in search of a pen for a short time, and in a minute Sasuke had a famously twisted Don Juan mustache. "I am a charming Sasuke-kun, and I have broken more hearts than enemies," Sakura skillfully parroted a hard, arrogant, purely Tchaikovsky tone. "And now it's your turn, Sakura. Become his scariest alarm clock in life." Sakura crept closer. Giggling softly, she bent down to her ear and cooed affectionately, "Sasuke-kun." He abruptly opened his eyes, taking out a kunai from nowhere and pointing it at Sakura. A second later, relief flashed in his eyes. "I knew you were afraid of this," Naruto said with satisfaction. Sasuke rolled his eyes and stood up. "Well, did you find the watch, you bastard?" Sakura said instead of answering. "So they found it. Well, then let's go back, hold on to me." Sasuke rewound the arrows back, and their spirit immediately flew out of the body. 3 children were lying next to each other in a sea of papers and were fast asleep. Naruto tightly squeezed Uchiha's palm in his and smiled contentedly through his sleep. The children woke up almost in the epicenter of a serious battle, not understanding anything, but for some reason they were captured and taken to the third Hokage for interrogation. The version with the Sanins was discarded immediately, because how real children got to this place. Sasuke managed to put the watch that interested him in his pocket. It was strange that they woke up and he was holding them in his hands. And the fact that his other hand was being squeezed by the little Naruto, and it threw up so many questions at all. Perhaps the clock has something to do with what is happening. Sasuke preferred to think alone and not share with anyone, and therefore hid the evidence from the third and their corrosive assistants. The heads of the village immediately established that the children were in shock and had no idea what had happened to them. They let everyone go, except Jinchuriki Nine-Tailed, deciding that the fox might know something. Kurama didn't know anything. He said only that they were plunged into a strong hibernation, and impolitely asked to leave him alone. Then they extracted threats from him that he felt that someone was controlling them. And that's it. The investigation has reached a dead end. The elders called for the help of real Sanins, and Jiraiya assumed that this was the work of the Akatsuki criminal gang, since there was already experience of manipulation on their part, for example, with the fourth Mizukage. Unknown leaders decided, apparently, to get something valuable in the Umbu Tower and decided to join the trust in this way. A man with a Sharingan, probably Itachi, staged a direct attack to another point in the tower. Those who posed as Jiraiya and Tsunade followed the actions of the third and kept the bulk of the warriors under control while Uchiha, disappearing from sight, moved towards the right offices, but what they were looking for and whether they found this something remained unknown for the leadership of Konoha. The guys were celebrating the end of the war. They were sitting in a friendly company in a pub, and each in turn made a toast. So, Naruto got up from his seat with a bottle of sake. Her blue eyes burned with a mischievous flame of anticipation. "Do you want me to reveal to you one of the most ultra-incomprehensible and mysterious situations of the past?" Sakura grinned, realizing what he was leading to. "Which one? Tell me." Rock Lee jumped up with impatience. "The secret of how 5 years ago, the three of us with Sakura and Sasuke ended up sleeping on the upper floors of the Umbu route." The table exploded with delight. "Yes. Tell me. Tell me, please, I thought I'd never find out. We will finally reveal the legend. I even conducted an investigation." Naruto and Sakura exchanged glances. They had no idea that the events of the past would intrigue their friends so much. Although it certainly looked extremely epic. Sasuke with a painted mustache, a completely destroyed office, Naruto and Sakura, buried in scrolls with their heads. Uzumaki looked at the absolutely whole second hand and exhaled contentedly. After all, something has changed a lot. The war happened, he and Sasuke got the power, but then, he didn't know what happened after, but apparently they never got into a fight in the Valley of Completion. And because Sasuke was treated less cautiously than it could have been in the event of his attack on the Tailed and Naruto. It is not known what guided that Sasuke, but now he is next to the right one, who has learned a lesson with which the passage of time was exactly what it should be. Okay, he's not around. He didn't show up to celebrate at all. As always, in his own style. He referred to some kind of overemployment. And you will also find out who then, at the same time, committed an attack on Konoha and carried out intrigues under our disguises. Wasn't that Tsunade and her drinking buddies? Oh, no, no. Sakura shook her head with a sly smile. The case is much more mysterious. Everyone became quiet and eagerly stared at them both, ears hanging out, and then the two of them, interrupting each other and correcting each other, told them about the last major adventure. Naruto, of course, kept silent about their kisses with Sasuke, about all sorts of intimate conversations, and so on. Sakura shared what was happening in Konoha at that time, how she hid in the guise of a grandmother, then pretended to be Tsunade. At first, the friends listened with interest, but when it came to the clones' attacks on people, including Hinata, they visibly darkened. "You know, Sakura, if I were you, I would advise Sasuke to get checked out by some medic," Shikamaru remarked gloomily. "Yes, everything is fine with him," Naruto waved. "He set the brains of this clone, so there's nothing to worry about." "And where did the watch go after all?" Shino asked. Sakura and Naruto exchanged nervous glances. "Are you serious?" They were stunned by their irresponsibility. Naruto ended up in Sasuke's bedroom late at night. He climbed through the window, touched some flour and fell down with a laugh. Uchiha put the book aside and gave Uzumaki a sadly condescending look, as if saying, "What else can I expect from you, you clumsy fool? Do you know where Rikudo's watch went, Sasuchan? Have you been drinking too much?" Sasuke got off the bed and slowly went for a broom to clean up pieces of earth. He looked very exhausted, as if he spent all his days at the training ground. But despite his age, and Naruto did not feel like a pedophile. "What makes you think that, and why did you barge into me? Ask about the watch." Sasuke didn't answer. He unceremoniously pushed Naruto aside, and he carefully swept the crumbs of earth into a scoop. When he put things in order, he finally turned to Naruto. "I have them. I found them recently sealed in one of the field scrolls. Naruto squinted suspiciously and squinted at the second whole hand. A strange thought flashed through my head. Sasuke, did you do anything with this watch? He rolled his eyes. Of course I did. I've been trying to sort out the consequences for us for a week now, while you're having a lot of fun there. Do you know how many problems Orochimaru caused? It turns out that he overheard our conversation, realized who we really were, and instead of dealing with my abduction, switched to the clock. I had to put Genjutsu on him and Kabuto 5 times, until I traced and found scrolls with memory recovery for a similar case. It only remains to understand. He waved both healthy hands, why I didn't attack you in the end. The watch, you had the watch, didn't you? Sasuke narrowed his eyes thoughtfully. Do you think the other me could have found out what kind of artifact it was and realized that nothing would work for him with killing you? Quite possibly, nodded Naruto. Most likely, he called the clock from the scroll and thoughtfully turned it in his hands. Rikudo himself could have told me about it. We need to go back to that moment and prevent it. Wait, don't. Naruto grabbed him firmly by the shoulder. Sasuke will definitely not move with him. Uchiha looked at him with displeasure. Why, but it's also much better. They treat you better, and our hands are intact. I have to be punished, I'm not going to get away with it. Oh, calm down. Naruto drawled, slapping him on the shoulder. Rikudo wouldn't have told you anything if he didn't think that you had had enough visits to the restoration work in the village hidden in the cloud. And also, he raised his finger up with a serious look. You remember what really happened. Isn't that already a punishment? But it's still not enough. I didn't want the future to be different. Maybe this was exactly what needed to be done so that you wouldn't wallow in self-flagellation like Itachi. Sasuke narrowed his eyes in disbelief. Naruto stepped forward and smiled encouragingly at him. The best thing you can do is not to punish yourself, but to find the courage to be happy and make others happy. And such watches don't just roll around on the roads, right? Sasuke was silent. Then, looking at him as if he was angry at the fact that he couldn't help but trust his words, he sealed the watch back into the scroll. Get out and let me finish reading the book in peace. But instead of fulfilling the request, Naruto sat down on his bed. Sasuke frowned, piercing him with a displeased look. Well, what else do you need from me? Naruto was looking into an absolutely empty closet that was ajar. Have you decided to leave after all? There's nothing holding me back. Nothing at all? Still cry here, Yuzuru Tonkaki. Naruto sighed, got up and turned to the window, intending to get out of it and go home. Prick. Uchiha is just a soulless jerk. Wait, Sasuke blocked the window with a face like he did him a favor. What are you? Fuck off, Naruto said, trying to push him away. There's nothing to talk about. You have your own road, I have my own. That's what you said, right? Stay. I was actually glad you came. Something is imperceptible. I didn't kick it out, he shrugged. And you're acting weird. Nothing like that, Uzumaki replied dryly, returning to the bed and examining the book with an unusually sad face. Shinobi Traveler's Guide? Perfectly. In a good way, wow, what? He glowered at Uchiha over his shoulder. You're freaking out. Sasuke sat down next to him, crossing his legs and looking at him with the interest of a sweet tooth who saw a sweetness unfamiliar before. This was really new. Before, in the eyes of Uzumaki there was always, if not confidence in a good outcome, then at least a determination to do everything for this. And now it's like he's desperate. I didn't know what to say to him and what to do. He just sat there and looked at him with a pleading look. Why do you want me to stay? Naruto buried his straw head in the pillow, drawing patterns on it that he alone knew. I'm not on the dark side anymore, I'm fine. You have nowhere to return me, Sasuke continued. Naruto muttered something softly into his pillow. Sasuke wanted to somehow cheer him up, comfort him, he stretched out his palm to touch the light, tousled hair, but some inner barrier prevented him from doing so. Uchiha buried his hand in his own hair and sighed heavily. That's exactly what's out of nowhere, Naruto repeated softly, pulling away from the pillow and turning to the window. I thought I'd let you go without a problem. After all, you are already saved. And this outcome seemed to me the most correct. It still seems right to me, but Sasuke was silent, fiercely fiddling with the blanket in his hands. Why is it so difficult, Dadabeo? Uzumaki exclaimed. I don't want you to leave. Are you worried that something might happen to me? No, Naruto turned to him. Sasuke looked at him with mild surprise. The blonde man didn't look like himself at all. In front of him sat not a capricious child, hungry for attention and recognition, but a grown-up, much-seen young man with sad blue eyes. And probably he, in comparison with him, is a real child who did not understand himself and decided to run away. I want you to stay. I want it for myself. And I'm sorry that back then, in Orochimaru's hideout, I started blaming you for the murder. I forgot myself. I was constantly thinking about this case, about you. I understand that it doesn't come right away, and I don't want to lose you. He took his hand in his, and squeezed it tightly. Sasuke peered at him and kept trying to figure out how he could have overlooked this other Naruto. Surely that's what crowds of people were following. Even though Uzumaki looked like he was about to lose consciousness from nerves. But Sasuke wouldn't even have the courage to come in his place. Uchiha pursed his lips and squinted down at their joined hands. And why is it so warm, cozy, and calm? Are you confessing your love to me, Yuzuru Tonkaki? Can you stop messing up for once? Sasuke swallowed nervously, trying to smile. Naruto stared intently into his eyes, into his soul, and it was simply impossible to turn away, pull out his hand, get off the bed, escape from the apartment, the village, fly somewhere to another planet and live there. To live and suffer, trying to get everything that is happening between them out of my head. Well, what are you looking at? Do you want to kiss me? You're trying to push me away again, aren't you? Or are you unobtrusively trying to evoke these thoughts in me? Naruto chuckled, approaching a dangerous distance. Sasuke leaned back a little. You don't want to move away, do you? After all, you drank a little bit. Yeah, of course, and also, you're translating the topic. Naruto exclaimed in amazement. Sasuke frowned in perplexity. You're a coward. Why should I be a coward, idiot? Yes, your hand is shaking. Fright clearly flashed in his dark eyes. He tried to pull the really trembling hand out of his grip, but Naruto squeezed it harder. I'm just cold. Will you break down like that every time? I decided to transfer Naruto directly. Sasuke looked so stunned now, as if he had been hit on the back of the head with a frying pan. I'll break down? The gaze panicked around the room in search of support, but there was nothing heavy in the reach of proximity. And how can he eliminate the danger of the strongest level in the face of Naruto and his transparent hints? What should I do? Jump out of bed, jump out the window, and basta, now this is Naruto's apartment, and he just passed by? No, it would look too stupid. He's not that afraid after all. Simply, it's all so unknown and unnerving, especially with such a close person who means so much to him. It's like some other dimension. And how can he cross the line separating the two worlds? Or you still don't want to, and I'm putting pressure on you. Sasuke suddenly felt cold. Naruto released his hand and pulled away. Something, apparently, I really drank too much. He smiled weakly, uncertainly, rubbing his reddened cheek. Sasuke watched his movements with an even more discouraged look. It was as if a pitcher of ice water had been turned over on its head. It never occurred to him that everything had changed so abruptly, and that everything was about to disappear. Hey, where are you going? He grabbed his shirt, not letting him get far away from the bed. Go home to sleep it off, Naruto replied dully. Sasuke jumped up after him, finally deciding that he did not want Naruto to leave so quickly. Yes, it's wrong, yes, tomorrow he has to leave this place forever. Why he stayed for 2 whole weeks at all, Uchiha did not know. Probably wanted Naruto to come to dissuade him, and so he came. Not quite neat. Not quite sure. Not quite sober. Sasuke looked into the blue eyes and felt a painful kinship. He couldn't leave Konoha. I didn't have the strength to leave. That's why he's been hanging around here for 2 weeks, like the last jerk. Duh. Close your eyes. Naruto did exactly the opposite. He opened them wide. He looked incredulous, holding his breath and practically not blinking. Close it now. Sasuke whispered a little angrily, irritated by the fact that he blushed absurdly. To make blood the color of the skin, there would be no problems. The arms hung at the sides of the body and seemed superfluous. And why is Naruto such a jerk? It's a simple matter, take it and close it. Should I fold the lips with a tube or a bow? Sasuke shot him the most furious look he was capable of. Incinerate, he wanted to incinerate Uzumaki on the spot. But Naruto just laughed, having finally fulfilled his request. That's the end of it, guys.